Welcome to the Colorado Skate Podcast. This is episode 8. We have Shad Spencer, our distinguished guest of the day. Very excited to have him on the show. We've been talking about it for a while, a real long time actually, to have him on, and he's finally here. It's a little early daytime broadcast.
That's
We had
right.
get him in here any way we could, so
Yeah.
here he is. Super happy to have you on here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah,
And
so
the 11 o'clock is like stereotypical old man dad time.
yeah, whatever
So,
it takes, man. We're willing to
yeah.
do whatever it takes to get great guests on here. So we're really
Sick.
happy
Well,
to have
thank
you on
you.
here.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. This is an honor.
Yeah.
Super
So
stoked.
what do you got going on today?
After this, this is gonna sound like a big surprise, especially if I'm being sarcastic, obviously, but got to make a Costco run,
Uh-huh.
hopefully before I pick the kids up from school. And yeah, just some adulting, which seems constant.
Yeah.
But actually have a little farm in my backyard, which has been taking up a lot of my time lately in a good way. But yeah, I got some a couple goats and little miniature pigs and some ducks, and the kids and I just have a blast hanging out with them. So
Dang. What
yeah,
what sparked that?
I don't know. Well, I've had chickens before years ago, so I built a pretty elaborate chicken coop and like a run and everything, and it kind of just morphed into more animals and I don't know. It's kind of fun. I'm in the city of Lakewood, so Jefferson County allows for a certain amount of livestock. So that's kind of been our jam lately.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Do you have
so
do you have a favorite animal, or
right
do you pick
now,
favorites? Is that wrong? Is
well,
that
only
wrong to
with
do
my animals,
that?
just not with my children.
Right.
Probably I have a female goat. Her name's Penny, and she's super sweet.
Yeah.
She always comes up to me and loves to be pet behind the ears.
Yeah.
And the other one's a male, and his name's Peanut, and he's kind of a like typical billy goat, a
Oh
little bit of
yeah.
a jerk.
Yeah, goats kind of freak me out, bro. They're
Yeah,
like totally creeped out. I think
really. They have crazy
they have
eyes.
their eyes creep me out real bad, and
Yeah,
like
you should come on over.
you should come on over and hang out with my goats. I'm like afraid of goats, bro. Like, I feel like they're just gonna beat me up or like
That's
torture
funny.
me or something like that, bro. They really scare
They
me.
are interesting. You should be on that show. What is it? Not My Strange Addiction, but like,
My strange phobia,
yeah,
my
yeah.
strange goat phobia.
I just give you a goat for your birthday. You're like, ah!
I wouldn't. I don't know. What do you feed it? You feed them anything, right? They like
Well,
tin
they'll.
cans and stuff. Is that
I
true?
had to fence off a like back half of my yard to keep them from coming down to where my lawn and all my flowers and stuff are. But yeah, they'll eat anything. They just chew on. They've been eating the evergreen trees where they're at. Like they just chew on pine needles.
Oh my
Obviously, I
God.
feed them like a goat feed mixture,
Uh,
whatever. But yeah, they just. It's funny every time you look at them, they're just like
oh, so
they
scary,
always
dude.
got stuff in
Creep
their
me out,
mouth.
bro. So
Yeah.
creeped out. Oh my
So,
God.
but they're rad. The kids love them, and I don't know. I just feel like it's a good memory maker
Oh
for
yeah.
their childhood, and I'm obviously super into them too. So.
Yeah. And
mm,
so they're just your pals. Are you like
Yeah,
milking them or what?
no, we might. I'm gonna let the goats have babies and then maybe get some goat milk out of it and maybe learn how to make cheese and all that. So we'll see.
How many I mean, what do you plan on doing with the babies? What do you call a baby goat
I
anyway?
don't know, a kid, right?
Kid,
I think they're
yeah.
called kids.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there are kids, right?
Yeah, I'll probably sell them. It seems like I can get a couple $100 each
Oh,
for them.
I was gonna say, you just got a new little side hustle,
Yeah. So not like
slinging goats
yeah,
on
not
the
necessarily
some
paying the
black market
mortgage,
goat
but yeah,
slinging,
right.
huh?
But they only have them every so often. They usually only have two at a time. But my good friend Evan, that you probably know, that had a part in the lunch break video,
Oh, okay, okay.
he has just got land, I think like 6 or so months ago down in Parker area. And him and his wife want to get some goats. So I'm like, you guys are my first customers
That's
slash,
awesome.
yeah. So they're kind of building their little farm. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's something fun to do with the kids. And I love animals. So
Are you like growing vegetables or crops too? You're
no,
just a
I,
pure
yeah,
rancher?
yeah, no,
Or...
I'm just, yeah. I haven't messed much with that. I did have a garden a couple years ago, and I ended up just neglecting it. And I kind of put me in my place and made me feel pretty bad about trying. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna grow them, and it turned into a flower garden, which is fine because it's better than nothing. But
Right.
I think if I was with just my lifestyle and being busy with work and trying to be a parent and everything, it kind of gets a little tricky. And then taking all those things and preserving them and trying to make them like,
It's a
how much do
full-time
you want to
job.
do it to make like where like how much do you want to dig in to make that be actually self-sustaining, I guess. You know, instead of like, oh, we grew one tomato, yay, you know,
Yeah,
and that's
it's a lot
it.
of work.
Yeah. So I'm a little ways off from there. Maybe in the future, you know, when I get if and when I get more land and kind of decide to go down that road.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a good question though,
yeah,
because a lot of people do grow a lot of their own stuff. There's community gardens where people do it and they're super into it, and I just haven't been able to fully capacitate that at this point.
yeah,
So
yeah. I totally understand that.
yeah,
I during the pandemic, I was like, oh, I want to start growing up. Like, dude,
yeah.
didn't even get close, bro. Didn't
But the
even get
idea and the
close. Yeah,
intentions there, yeah.
I like dug out a little spot and like cleaned it all up, and we had like a
Yeah,
planter box, and that was the end of it.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, dude, there's no way this is happening.
That's funny. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, you're not the only one to give up on their
Yeah, gardening
gardening
dream.
dream. Yeah. So that was
That's
abandoned.
awesome.
That was abandoned. Yeah, and then you're still doing the landscaping stuff, or
I'm actually not. I got a, I always joke about it, like a real job last January working for an HVAC company,
okay,
and they're called Copper Mechanical, and it's a really cool company, and I'm yeah, stoked to kind of not be self-employed
oh yeah,
anymore.
yeah, that's rough.
And
I didn't know that you were. I didn't know that was your own company.
the
Landscaping,
landscaping,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it was a tiny little operation, but
right,
I did it for probably 15 years,
yeah,
you know, and
yeah,
had a lot of good friends work with me
yeah.
under
Chris was
it.
working for you for a
Yeah,
while, right?
yeah, a little bit. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Chris and oh man, the list goes on. Dude, Justin Shardy years
Oh,
ago.
really?
Yeah, man, I could think of a lot of dudes. Tyler Price was like my main
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
which is funny because he's my lead tech. He's my boss now at this
Oh,
HVAC
really? So
company.
you went full
Yeah,
circle. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, which is rad. And yeah, it's cool to he's taught me a lot, and it's very interesting to see his work ethic. Like if you can imagine, or if you've ever obviously you've seen his video parts,
Right.
but he not only is he talented, he has the tenacity of a workhorse and a half, and he brings that to his job.
But I mean,
So
that's like the pillars of a skater of his caliber,
yeah,
right? You need
totally.
both, right? You can't
Yeah,
just have the talent and
yeah,
not have the dedication, or have the dedication
right.
without the talent. You need
Exactly.
both, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that are missing one or the other, but he
Definitely.
definitely has always brought both to the table. And it's crazy because it's not like he's extremely talented. So if it takes him 3 hours to get a clip of jumping down something and cracking the concrete, it's it's gnarly.
Yeah.
So
And that dude's as
yeah,
gnarly as it gets, man.
yeah. But
One,
he's just the like the kindest, most humble dude and hilarious.
yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, this dude should be a stand-up comedian, and I don't know if anybody knows that, but just when
Yeah,
he's in his own comfort zone
mhm.
and just some of his commentary, I don't know. We have a good time working together.
Yeah, he always seems kind of reserved, you know what I mean?
He is at surface level, but if there's any kind of like breakthrough on that, he'll open up. But yeah, super solid dude.
Yeah.
Proud to be working under him and proud to have him as a friend.
Yeah, that's cool. And
Yeah.
HVAC, that was another thing that was that was a 1 day adventure for me.
Did you
Like
do it one day?
1 day, dude, I was like, I just have the like you're a small guy like me, or like same size,
Yeah, yeah.
and I got the tiniest hands, bro. I don't know how big your hand.
Dude,
How
I
big is
bet
your
mine are
hand?
smaller than
Oh,
yours.
oh man,
Dude, they're close.
yeah,
Mine are like a
you are
millimeter.
smaller. But dude, how do you handle those tin snips, bro? With
Dude,
I can't even. They go to like right here
yeah.
on this knuckle, and my hands are not strong enough to cut through tin with tin snips, bro. And I'm like, dude, I can't. I don't
I
want
had
to
to use
do that.
both hands. And then
Oh,
somebody was trying to give me a hard time. And then Tyler was like, dude, just use two hands. It's all good. You know what's funny, real quick? Chris Schwartz, this is for you. He used to, when he worked for me, we have these lawnmowers and the handles on them are pretty, like when they're fully out
mm-hmm.
and you got to squeeze them.
Uh-huh.
And he could barely get his hands around them.
Oh
And his
man.
hands are probably like not much smaller than mine, but it was
Right.
just funny. He dealt with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of small hands, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah. Those
So.
tin snips are brutal, bro. I don't know if I've talked
Yeah.
about that,
Well,
but
yeah, that's interesting. And then there's certain ones for certain angles and yeah.
yeah,
And
cutting.
then to gauge depending on the thickness of what you're cutting, it's definitely no joke.
Yeah, too much measuring, too much cutting, bro. I was not is not my
So you did it just one day,
I did
and
it
then
one day and I'm like I can't, I don't want to do
yeah,
this.
it sounds like you got thrown straight into like venting.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I don't know anything about this. This is
Yeah,
hard as way too hard.
yeah.
And money was good. I mean, the money was good, and if you get good at it, more power to you. We need people doing that stuff. Definitely.
It's an important industry. I guess people like having heat and hot
Yeah, I've heard
water.
about that. Like I heard people talking about not liking cold places or too hot places. So
Yeah,
it
comes in handy.
is super handy.
Well, somebody mentioned recently. Oh, it was my boss. I was talking to her the other day. Which, by the way, says I don't know exactly how old she is, but as a reference, her name's Darla. Awesome, like full blown HVAC guru. But she mentioned there was some South Park episode that came out recently that was, it sounded like all these, I guess like people that work on, computers and tech. My terminology right now is terrible, but the point was they had to stop doing that and get into HVAC so they could um, continue to have jobs, and like there was an actual demand or a relevancy to having to go over to something like that, if I'm correct in regurgitating what she said. And I thought that was interesting though, because you have these people that are into computer tech stuff and whatever else, and they're like, we're gonna have to do this, I guess, to keep making.
Yeah, it's me doing anything but playing with video games all day. Like after this, like, oh god, just like dread. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. But
Yeah.
some of that stuff too, though, like when you just dig in and you deal with it. I mean, I've learned a lot. I thought I was gonna honestly, and I'm not the most confident person in general, but I was like, all right, I feel like I'm fairly mechanically inclined. I've built skate parks and ramps and have done landscaping and have been very hands-on my whole adulthood and some of my childhood. And then getting into HVAC and learning, realizing how much there is to it. You're dealing with electrical, you're dealing with steam, you're dealing with all these different things that I guess the horizon's so broad, even some of the senior techs there are like, dude, I learn something new every day. I'm like, dude, that's insane. Because I'm trying to take it all in and then not have it a failure to launch, like, oh, man. So maybe like short-term version of your situation where you're like, I'm out of here, dude.
Yeah.
This, so,
Landscaping, I can dig it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's nice, especially in Colorado. It's way nice because there's so much soil. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You dig a trench line, you could pick out a trench line in
Right.
20
Yeah.
25 minutes if you
Yeah.
needed to. But I was doing that in Maui, dude, and the geology there is insane
You probably
because,
run into rocks, huh?
dude, insane. They have like almost no topsoil.
Okay.
So I want to dig a trench line this long. I'm gonna pull crags this
Yeah, that's
big
gnarly.
of lava rock out of my trench line every 2 or 3 feet,
Yeah.
dude. And you're like, are you kidding me,
Yeah.
dude? Just unbelievable. So I came back here and I started a landscaping company, like
Oh, you did.
2006. Yeah,
Sick. Okay, I didn't know
and
that.
yeah, Joe Ramirez helped me do some stuff,
Okay.
and who else? Gianni and like Danny Dibentino,
Okay.
few other dudes. I
All you Italians.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Yeah. So we I had him just do a couple jobs. I ended up like turning my taxes in. I got a tax bill for more than I grossed the whole time. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, how is this possible?
Right.
And I'm like, this is ridiculous, bro. So that was like one of my first business ventures that completely
Just
failed.
yeah. No, I hear you. I had a issue with that constantly. You're like, and you're trying to claim everything, and if you have this big job that you do, and then yeah, you're looking at your profit and loss, you're like, this is not even worth it.
Hmm.
And they take so much. I don't want to get controversial, but thank you, government,
Yeah.
for holding us all down that work really hard.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
for real.
Anyway, but yeah, that was another reason to kind of, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go work for somebody else. And obviously, you take taxes out of my paycheck, which are ridiculous, but that's also the federal government. But I don't have to worry about it. I'm not trying to save this money at the end of the year to have like a depressing bank account with $30,000 in it that I'm just gonna
Give
give
away,
away.
right?
Yeah,
You're like, dang, I could have used that.
Yeah.
But
So
yes.
anyway,
Anyways, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
Sorry to get so adulty.
yeah. Owning your own business is fun, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice. Like yeah, you hear like oh people complain all the time about everything, obviously. But
Yeah.
dude, having a job, having a steady job where you go in, you do your job,
Yeah.
you get your check, you go home, you check out, you do whatever you want, you wake up and go do your job. Like such a luxury, dude, that you
Yeah.
just like don't
You forget it.
appreciate
Yeah.
or value until you try to do something on your own. You're like,
Yeah. And
dude, this is brutal, dude.
yeah, you're
This is
juggling
brutal.
like every single hat,
Yeah,
and it's gnarly. I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. When I started working for this company, I found out about. I know this sounds ridiculous, and I'm kind of dumbing it down and making a point and trying to be somewhat funny. But I found out or had the realization of PTO, and I was like, "What's? Wait, you're gonna wait a minute. I earn paid time. What? How? Like, how is this?"
How does that
And
work?
you know, from your
Yeah,
you don't get paid time off, dude.
no,
Your business doesn't make money unless you come in or an employee comes in and works.
right.
And fortunately, with a a company that that's a common general concept. I see that, but it still blows my mind as a very small business owner for years. I could never afford to pay my. I'm like, dude, it's 4th of July and it's a Monday. Love you guys. We got a lot of work to do
We got a
today.
lot of work to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. Yes,
anyway,
it's a different world.
it is.
So, all right. I mean, this is a skate podcast. We could
Yeah, I'm
talk
sorry
about. No, no, don't
in
apologize.
advance. I know. I know.
No,
I'm just
people want to
saying.
hear this stuff. Like that, I feel like I do. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's like, yeah, you want to talk about skating, but we've seen you skate. Like we know where to watch your
yeah,
skating. You know, but it's like people don't know who you are.
yeah.
Don't know what you're doing.
Right, right.
Don't know other experiences. So it's totally appropriate kind of
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
We'll probably get sidetracked onto other stuff as we're
yeah.
like talking
I'll try
through
to
this
be
and
as
stuff.
best behaved as I can
Oh,
and
you
focus on skating.
don't worry about it. So yeah, so how old are you now?
Oh man, I always round it up, and my kids give me a hard time. They're like, "Dad, you're only this." I'm gonna be 45 in August, so
Okay.
44.
Okay, cool.
So getting up there,
Right on.
but yeah.
And then you were born in Colorado
No,
or?
I'm from East Texas, born and
Oh,
raised
that's right. That's
outside of
right. That's right.
Tyler.
Okay.
So yeah, grew up there, and didn't. It's just funny to even say this. I was gonna say didn't get into skating until the ripe old age of 9, but I remember I can't remember what came first. I think I found an old skateboard in a creek. Like just somebody had dumped a bunch of stuff
Uh-huh.
and it was completely ruined.
Right.
But I was like, "What? This is awesome." And then I'm pretty sure I saw Thrashing immediately after that and Gleaming the Cube and
Oh,
lost
really?
my mind.
Really?
Yeah, I
So like in theaters or
no, just
just
like at the video
Blockbuster or
store. We didn't
you
even have
didn't have
block.
Blockbuster back
There was
then?
so we lived out in the I wouldn't say the woods, but like probably like 30 miles from the closest city, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a little video store on the highway,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of rad. So you could go in there. I don't remember what it was called, but they had like Skate Fest 88 you could rent and Georgia, Savannah,
Oh,
Slamma
really?
and all like, and then they had Thrashing and Gleam in the Cube. So I as soon as that skateboard kind of initiated something with me,
Mm-hmm.
I just tractor beam. And
That's
then
crazy.
my first board, this is hilarious, that I bought was from like a what do you call them? It's called Canton Trade Days. You go and it was
Like swap
every
meet or
yeah, kind of
flea
like
market or
one
something?
yeah, flea market. Thank you. So I went there. It was one Monday out of the month. So they called it First Monday, and it was in this town called Canton, which is like 30 minutes from our house. Anyway, went there. Somebody was selling brand new Nash
Oh
skateboards, like
yeah.
total garbage.
Yeah.
And there was one that had a hole cut out in the tail and a radio
What?
mounted underneath, and I was
No.
like, I want that.
Oh
So I like
no.
saved up. I had a little bit of allowance. My dad and my mom always had us either doing chores or like mowing the neighbors' yards. And anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But so I got that board, and I knew Nash sucked even at that point.
Right.
But I was trying to figure out how to justify it. I was like,
Uh-huh.
dude, it's got a radio on the bottom.
Oh, did you
This is
tail
so
slide?
sick. Yeah.
Just
So,
how does
but
that
yeah, I would
work?
just bomb a hill and like just put the tail down and scrape it, but you could barely hear the music coming out of it. I was like, this is so awesome. And I think I even tried to cut it. I got very constructive right away with trying to make stuff legit. I might have even tried to cut it down and round the edges and put a new sheet of grip on it, which could have been sandpaper. We didn't have a local shop or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next board, and um, please forgive me or kick me in the shin if I need to move forward with anything or skip things.
No,
But
no,
I
just
put a Veriflex skateboard on layaway at Kmart, and I got that, and that was like this like, oh, because it was actually somewhat legit, you
uh-huh.
know. And I remember skating that thing for a while, and then I didn't really have any friends I skated with, so like forced my brothers to skate, and they were like, "All right." So I buy them like completes for Christmas and stuff, and
And
yeah,
how many brothers do you have?
two.
Two?
Yeah, so my middle brother, his name's Bennett. He's a he lives in the Dallas area. He's been all over the world, but he's a pilot for Southwest, so he still skates,
Oh,
but not
really?
like I wouldn't say is, and fortunately for him, because you know how the obsession is.
Right.
He does it at his convenience,
Yeah.
you know, and he
As
always
as you
has.
should.
Yeah, exactly. Like he didn't develop some unhealthy obsession and go out and film a bunch of mediocre video parts for the past 20 years. But yeah, he's rad. And so he would skate with us, and he can do like kick flips, heel flips,
Mhm.
and you know, pop shove it, um and then William is the youngest, and he obviously, it was funny because for a few years there he would kind of reluctantly skate with me, and then he
Mhm.
started getting more and more into it, and then around the time of like the Burning Daylight era,
Right.
he really took off with it and ended up filming a part, and the rest is, you know,
Yeah.
kind of local history or
Yeah,
whatever.
for sure.
But yeah, but they would both kind of disgruntledly like, and we had like this, I'd say like 400 square foot slab to skate on.
Oh,
It
wow.
wasn't that big,
Yeah.
and the rest is just, you know, dirt driveway, and so we would skate on this slab, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, but very, I guess you could even say rural. Just, and then any chance I could go into town or in the city to street skate, I would. William did karate lessons once a week, and it was downtown Tyler, so anytime he would go in for a karate lesson, I would go skate around for an hour.
Oh,
It
wow.
was awesome.
And so
So
so that guy at that video store, there had to be a skater in that video store.
I would think
There had to
so.
be. How would he
Yeah,
get those skate
I don't
videos?
know, unless it was just generally more popular than we would assume.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean, those were some like kind of core, other than the, you know, Thrashing and Gleaming the Cube. The other ones were like full blown just contest videos.
right.
And it was funny because they were all like a lot of vert skating,
Right.
and I didn't have a ramp or anything. But
Hmm.
I didn't care. I just wanted to watch skateboarding.
Hmm.
I was completely infatuated with it. And obviously, because of what I grew up with, you know, kind of was more geared towards street skating. But that's okay.
And
But
which one did you like better? Thrashing or Gleaming the Cube?
dude, Thrashing for
Yeah.
sure. I used to fast forward all the scenes in Gleaming the Cube. I'm like,
Oh.
get this garbage out of here. All I want to see is the skating. But I felt like Thrashing kind of had a little bit better action and dialogue in between the skating, and
Hmm.
I don't know, it just spoke to me a little bit more. But both movies were just, like I said, just anything I could eat up skateboarding. I was,
Right.
yeah.
It wasn't Ninja Turtles that got you into
Ninja
it.
Turtles was rad, but that was way too little of a teaser. I
Oh,
felt
yeah,
like
yeah,
in the
yeah.
whole,
There's
like in
like
the sewer,
one,
you're
yeah,
like, is that it? One clip?
yeah,
Yeah.
one clip.
Yeah, that didn't bum me out, but I was like, let's see some skating.
Do you know who actually was like the skate doubles for the Turtles? Do you know?
I have no idea. I bet William would know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be
Let's
interesting.
call our lifeline.
What about Frankie Hill and Hook?
Dude, that was sick, but I didn't realize that was him until later, when all, you know, like Instagram kind of became more popular in the Nine Club and all that. Um, but yeah, Christian Asoy in that, or is
No,
that
that
the
was
Asian
Rufio.
dude? Okay,
Rufio was
that's
like supposed to be like, I feel
okay.
like
But he always reminded me of
yeah,
Christian Asoy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that they cast him as supposed to be like Christian Soy,
Okay.
right? That's what makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
He seemed like a very prevalent character to Christian Asoy's real personality. I
Right.
felt
I
like.
feel like they were biting his
Yeah.
whole style for
Yeah,
that for
totally,
that
dude.
part.
He's like, you should have used me.
They're like, oh, let's make Peter Pan. Let's get Christian Hosoi in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's the only way we can make it better. But yeah, they
Awesome.
had the real Frankie Hill in there, and
Yeah.
that dude rips.
Yeah. No, he had one of my first videos I ever saw was Celebrity Tropical Fish, and Adam McNatt had the sickest part in there along with Frankie Hill. But just seeing what he was doing on handrails and like the board slide to like hand touch
Oh
on the
yeah,
rail and like still landing it.
just like the sickest style, like the
Yeah.
best style.
I was in a grocery store in Texas probably shortly after I started skating, and I saw the cover of a Thrasher, and he was board sliding a double kinked rail, and it was shot long lens straight on. It was super tight, and I was just like, this is the sick. Yeah, I remember I used to go to the grocery store and look at Thrasher while my mom went grocery shopping. It was funny. My dad was a police officer, and he was the best guy ever. But let me finish my story. I think I saw there was an ad, like a 187 ad or something, like for a rap group or something in the Thrasher, and he saw it, and
Hmm.
he was like, "You are not buying this." And this was very early on
Hmm.
because he always supported my skateboarding years after that. But I remember that was like really triggered him. You know, he was like,
Oh,
"What is this garbage?" You know, like police officer in East Texas, never really even seen skateboarding, and then there's like just pretty, derogatory ad towards police officers
oh,
in it,
okay. All right,
yeah,
I
the
see.
187 is like cop down or whatever
I see. That
thing.
makes
And I
sense.
don't even remember exactly what the deal was, but and I was like, I don't care about this, all I care about is the skateboarding in here. And he was just being a, trying to be a good parent, but it was funny I remember him being like, you can look at it at the store, but I am not paying for that garbage. It's like, dang it. Yeah.
Trevor and Dave Davis and Honeybee are all saying what's up to you, Shad.
Oh, what's up, guys? Love you guys, man.
Yeah. So that's cool. I mean, we could just
Yeah,
see what they're
yeah,
saying. I just noticed that now. I didn't want
that's
to interrupt you,
awesome.
but yeah,
So sick.
Dave Davis. He's popped in almost
That is
every one of
awesome,
our streams. Every
dude.
time I say Dave, hit me up, come on the show, come be on the
You got to
podcast.
get him on
Yeah,
here.
have
He's
to.
like the
A
full
must.
blown
A
legend.
must. A must.
I have a funny, quick Dave Davis story, if you don't mind, Dave. Um, I didn't know him too well, but I think I started skating for Brothers in Boulder, which was like, to me, was super out of nowhere and really flattering. We went to Tampa, and I remember staying with Dave the night before, and he had taken because he was trying to bring some weed out there, or whatever, and he taped a bunch of S stickers together. I can't remember exactly what he did, but it was pretty legit. But he obviously made it through the whatever security and everything. But I remember that about him.
Oh,
It
he
was
flew.
pretty.
You guys you flew
Yeah,
out
we
there.
flew to Tampa,
He got her
dude.
the weed on the plane.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He
This
got
was pre 9/11 though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is 90s, late 90s, right?
Yeah. It was late '90s, and it was the second year I went to Tampa.
And you skated the contest?
Yeah.
Really? How did you ever do in those
Oh
contests?
my gosh. I was wondering if this would come up. Um,
You brought it up. I didn't even know
no, no,
you
no,
ever
no,
went to
no.
Tampa.
Yeah, no. So I went out there with the Brothers dudes, and the year before I went out with Jeremy Frankovis and this company called Pilgrim Skateboards that this dude Rob Ficelli used to own. Sorry, we'll get back to the
Dave
Dave.
said, yeah, Dave said it. Tampa stories, it worked. He said he got it. He scored.
Yes. But anyway, yeah, so went out there the first year, and I remember, you know who Eric Shelley is?
Oh yeah. Well, not I know who he
Okay,
is. I know who
yeah.
he is, but he was one of the dudes that when I was, like I said, consider the odds out of the
Yeah.
blue, bro. I was like,
Yeah.
Eric Shelley's the best,
Dude,
bro.
he
I
was like
wanted,
the Reese Forbes, in
yeah,
my
he was
opinion,
the
of
steeziest
Colorado and
with the
whatever.
genetics and oh my
Yeah.
god, I loved those genetic
Yeah.
shoes, bro. They were so sick, and
That's
he just
awesome.
crushed it. And
Yeah. Dude,
him and Mike on genetics looked
yup.
so good,
Yeah, those dudes are
beautiful.
so
But
steezy.
Shelly was like, oh, that guy's Shelly and Gordy. I was such a nerd for those
That's
two, bro.
awesome.
For
Well, their
me,
type of skating probably spoke to you.
yeah, yeah. I'm just like, oh, that's what I like about skating.
Yeah.
Like just super steezy, like
Yep.
just flip tricks on flat ground, like
Yep.
doing little nose
Yeah.
slides and tail
Yeah.
slides, and
Yeah.
I just love that. I
Yeah,
love
his
that.
Shelly's switch and nollie game was so good. Anyway, sorry to get off track, but I thought he should have gone out to Tampa, and this dude Rob that owned this company, Pilgrim, he was like, "No, you and Jeremy are gonna go," and I was like,
Jeremy
"Okay."
Frankovich.
Frankovis,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And Jeremy actually did pretty good, but I was in this phase, and I don't know why. Maybe it was so long ago, and Dave is probably aware of this, but I had like this bag of circus tricks that were whack, straight up, and I had to deviate away from them.
Like what?
Dude, frontside flip roast beef, Benihanas. I'm pretty sure.
Benihanas are tight.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
like Benihanas.
I'm pretty sure the second year I went, I did two Benihanas in one run, and I don't know why Clyde Singleton wanted to punch me in the face. Just
Wait,
kidding.
is that true?
Yeah, I also did a hard flip indie grab or
Oh my,
frontside grab over the pyramid,
oh
like the whole thing.
dear.
Like, yeah, it was
High
in
beams,
hindsight so painful, but I'm bringing it up because obviously I'm aware of the
bro.
ridiculousness.
Frontside flip roast beef is that got me, bro. I
Dude.
was like,
Well,
what
it sucked.
hijinks?
It sucked because it was so fun. I would do it on like the 6 foot ramp at Golden,
Uh-huh.
and you could just frontside flip, and the board would just go up as high as you want, and your
Uh-huh.
legs were you felt like they were kind of spracked, and you would just grab it and bring it
Uh-huh.
back down.
Uh-huh.
And then of course it sucked too because people were like, "Oh, that's cool," so it feeds your
Oh yeah.
stupid little ego at the
Yeah.
time, and you're like, "Oh, come on, I got all
You
these."
get the positive
Yeah,
reinforcement,
right,
and that's
yeah,
all it
from
takes to
yeah,
not
and
ever
it's
stop doing
right, and it's probably from people that don't skate.
that.
Yeah,
Right.
you're like it's like the dad on the side in a jersey with his kid there or whatever. But anyway, I came to a point. So Tampa came and went, but the second year I was there, I was also partying a lot and just
So
piled out.
how did you rank on the
Dude,
with that on that run with the
the
frontside
th
flip roast beef? And you made it though. You made that trick.
yeah, I did all that crap, which was so embarrassing in hindsight. But I think the first year I got like 32nd or something. And then the second year, I don't know, that could be a total,
How many entrants are there typically of Tampa and in those days?
I
100,
think like close to 200.
Oh, really? That's pretty
Yeah.
freaking good, dude.
So, but still, it was like I had kind of skipped a lot of, I guess you could say, puzzle pieces, or went from probably some really solid basics of skating to going into these like I said, circus tricks. What do we got?
Dave says 250 entrants.
Dang.
That's crazy. That's amazing, actually.
Yeah.
That's great. And I know Dave. I actually
And Dave killed it out
Dave killed
there.
it, right?
Yeah.
I was looking in an old Trans World when I was, I don't remember when. I was really young.
Yeah.
And I actually like scrolled across the standings for Tampa Am. I saw Dave got like 10th place.
Yeah.
I
No,
was like, oh
dude,
my God, that's incredible.
yeah, he's always been a really good contest skater. And not to bounce around, but right when I moved out to Colorado, there was a contest at Arvada. Remember Dave, little baby blue Arvada park, which
Yeah.
I wish they would
I
have
wish
kept
they
that
kept
thing,
that
dude.
park.
Anyway, I show up there and I like was 2 weeks out of the, whatever, driving myself out from Texas. And I'd moved up to Silver Plume, Colorado with some friends that were really heavy snowboarders.
And
They rode at,
when did you move to Colorado?
I want to say like 97.
So you were like 16,
I was
17?
just turned 17 and I was going to high school at
Where'd you go to high school?
Clear Creek High School in Idaho Springs.
Oh,
Yeah, so which is kind of crazy, but I knew these guys from a summer camp I went to a couple summers called Glacier View Ranch up kind of just northwest of Boulder. And I had developed a really rad friendship with these guys, and they still lived at home with their parents, but they were like, "Come out and stay with us," and blah blah blah. And anyway, so we went to this contest at Arvada, and Dave was there, and he was younger than me, I remember, and he might not have even been in my division, but I was like, dude, this guy is amazing. I was like, I'm so stoked I'm not skating against him, and he was just killing it. Like obviously the tray flip tail grab, Dave, but front side flips, everything, just perfect runs. And I was blown away. I was exposed to a lot of really talented skateboarders from Colorado there. Troy was there,
uh-huh.
probably hard flipped over the whole skate park.
Right.
Another dude named Dave Barnes. Do you remember Dave Barnes at all?
I think I do. I don't ever met him, but I
Yeah.
remember seeing like clips of him.
Yeah, his caliber of skating live, you were just like, this is ridiculous. Spencer Risbeck
Yeah.
was there,
Uh-huh.
and he was dressed as a Tom Penny lookalike. I love you, Spencer, if you ever see this.
And
But
then Dave,
yeah.
sorry, Dave said he got all the way to 6th place at Tampa Am. That's
Dang,
amazing.
I am not surprised to hear that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's so sick.
Sorry, you're
Oh
talking
no,
about
no, it's all good.
you're talking about Spencer
Oh yeah, so
Risbeck.
Spencer Risbeck was there, and remember he had like a Denver Nuggets like windbreaker on. And he was so baggier pants, and he was so steezy. I was like, like long hair,
Uh-huh.
and just yeah. Oh, another one, Matt McCourt. Do you
Oh yeah,
remember him
yeah,
at all?
yeah. I never
Yeah.
met him, but
He's awesome. We still keep in contact. He's a good friend of mine. But yeah, these people are just crushing this little dinky park, and I'm like, just got here from Texas, and
And that rail had been all nice and like not all
the old
all like
yeah, the bend down past
and
the
all just
yeah, no, it was
bent
still
in the middle and
right. No, I was still in good shape. But yeah, dudes were doing kick front boards on it, and I was like
that's
just
crazy
blown
back then.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's insane.
yeah. So anyway, um, and I'm sorry we're all over the
No,
place,
no,
but
no.
yeah, the
This
whole
this is great. This
Tampa thing
the
was
the flow of conversation is great. So
okay, cool. But yes, first year at Tampa with Pilgrim and Jeremy Frankovis, and he killed it. And then second year with all the brothers dudes, Dave Davis, dude DJ. I met DJ Chavez out
uh
there.
huh,
James Frankhouse came along. He was just a little dude.
uh huh,
Josh Zickert.
uh huh.
Who else? Oh, Urel. He
Okay,
was on
uh
that
huh.
trip. He killed it. Big surprise. But yeah, I kind of that's where I realized, and it was partially because I was partying so hard and whatnot, and kind of just not to sound Debbie Downerish, but I was like, I don't belong here. I don't belong in this, potential professional skateboard world.
You just knew right away that
Yeah,
you
and I could have pulled the Jamie Thomas. I don't know if you ever heard any. I think he had a maybe it was on his Nine Club, but he was like made the decision that something happened where it was a turning point where he was like, "That's it. I'm moving to California and I'm doing this." I
mm-hmm.
went the opposite direction. I was like, "Poor me. I'm gonna go mow lawns."
I'm gonna go
So,
mow
and
lawns.
it is what it is. And I never quit skating, and I've always loved it. But yeah, it kind of just put me in my place a little bit.
Yeah, a
So yeah, and
little bit of humble.
yeah, humble pie for sure.
Yeah, and
Excuse me.
yeah. So yeah, it's either you get to a turning point where it's like, am I gonna go to California?
Yeah,
And you try to go to California and it's not ever what you think it's gonna
yeah,
be. And I don't
yeah.
know. I think there's of all the people in the scene in Colorado that could have gone out there and should have or were as good as or as
Excuse
better
me.
as any of the pros of their era.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like the Tyler Price, obviously,
yep,
the twins,
yep,
Travis, Dave Davis,
yep. I agree.
um, even like Jared
Yeah,
Theba and Micah,
yeah.
obviously. I don't know if I'm forgetting anybody I could think of that were pretty much better than
Right, kind of stood
anybody,
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
better than anybody in the industry at that time. But definitely
yeah,
all of those guys were,
yeah.
in my eyes, were as good or better than any of the pros that I was watching.
No, I agree 100%.
But they either decided to go to California and try to do something, or they stayed here. Most everyone stayed here, and for good reason because
Yeah,
the scene was so good here, and
yeah,
everyone was having so much fun, especially in that era. That it was like, why should we go and hang out with these
yeah.
weirdos in California and try and break into this
Right.
scene when we got such a tight scene here.
Yeah.
So,
No, I
but I don't mean
agree.
to like
No, no, no.
yap it
I
up.
love hearing it. No, I agree with you. I think there's several talented dudes that woulda, coulda, shoulda made it. And I guess the reality of it too is not everybody can be pro, and sometimes it doesn't matter how talented you are, or even marketable. It's just like it doesn't work out sometimes,
Hmm.
and it is what it is.
Right.
So,
So you decided early on that it's not what your
yeah,
ambition really was.
yeah, I figured it out, and then which was fine. I came to terms with it, and this is also kind of funny, but like a year or so later, I still skating heavily and had sobered up, and obviously working and doing what you got to do to be a grown up and skate even at that early age. But I cut all the circus tricks out, which was kind of funny because I was like, man, these are I do like doing them, but what am
I
I gonna do
do like
now?
doing it.
So I went from like, yeah, like the skate park cheese ball kind of hero,
uh,
debatably, to
uh,
like this dude that's just doing a solid Smith grind maybe on the quarter pipe instead of a frontside flip roast beef over your mom
yeah,
or whatever. So, but I just remember that, just coming to terms with that,
yeah,
which is silly because you should do what you want to do. But I was also realizing that it was somewhat of like an insecurity that was feeding an ego that was like, I'm like, I don't like that either. Like,
right,
let's like focus on skateboarding. And
yeah.
so anyway, sorry, I'm probably in a complex of anomaly of a bunch of talk about a bunch of personality issues, but I think we all struggle with those things to a certain extent. So, but I did move into a phase after that of really enjoying skateboarding and having fun with it. And then being just feeling better on my board, even if I knew there was, you know how you have your like, there's tricks you want to learn but you struggle with them, and just being well rounded. I've always had like that struggle. Like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, and then you focus on that, and it doesn't do any good in the big picture. Instead of being thankful for what you do got, you know. So anyway, if that sounds kind of vague, I apologize, but I think most people could agree with that, unless you are a Tyler Price or like a somebody that just has every single trick in the bag.
Julian or
Yeah, yeah, and they're not. It's not an issue. You're like, ah, that's awesome. I'm jealous.
yeah. But I mean,
So,
you talked to like we were talking to Julian on the episode before, and I was asking him because I always want to get that perspective from people that are that good that do have all those tricks. And like,
yeah,
how do you approach skateboarding? Because it's like you don't have a coach, you don't have a boss, like you don't have
yeah,
like all of these expectations or anything like that. I'm like, how do you what do you do to get as good as you get? And it's just like, dude, you just sit there and you're like, I'm gonna learn 360 flips today. You do like 30 360 flips. Like,
yeah,
there's not ever been a session in my life where I've done that, and it's like, wonder why you're not good at that trick because it's like, dude, you land it one time and you're just like,
yeah.
yes,
Celebration.
and then you're like, okay, I don't have to do that again, and
Yeah,
then you're like, just a different people have a different
yeah,
mindset, a different set of discipline
yeah.
that I lacked. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I hear you, and I think you're really good at skateboarding, by the way. So stop it.
Oh,
But I
thanks.
hear what you're saying. Here's the bottom line too. Are you training? Are you skating for fun? And if training is fun, cool. If it turns into a job, that's kind of where I got to a point as I got older too. I'm like, I started feeling guilty for losing a little bit of the desire to want to skate all the time and just that pure joy that it gives you. And you have to you go back to, what do you want to do? Do you want to do 30 tray flips over and over and over? Does that stoke you out? Cool. You do that. Does one do it for you? You know, it's all subjective and it's all relative to the person and what that person wants out of it.
And ultimately, that's I feel like that's what is the most beautiful thing about it, right?
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
because everyone's different, everyone has a different perspective, everyone has a different legs
Yeah,
or no legs at
yeah,
this point, right?
right.
And
And
so,
body types and
yeah,
everything else under the
everything.
sun.
And so it's like it's kind of just like music or anything else is like the people that just get really comfortable with themselves and just are really being able to express themselves without having too much of outside influence
Yeah,
or trying to imitate or
right.
trying to follow trends or whatever. Those are the guys that we all end up just looking up to because they're like,
Yeah,
that's an original guy, like he has an original approach, he has an original perspective,
yeah,
and you know, you make it look good because you're not imitating anybody, you're just doing what your body does,
yeah,
and then you're having fun with it. And those are the kind of people I really always liked
yeah.
watching the most.
I think I agree with you. I think especially with just how saturated or just big, I guess, the skateboard community world has gotten. It's cool to see somebody that just looks like they're having fun and enjoying themselves. Obviously, style for me is
Yeah,
huge,
of course.
but I think that comes through experience, and that also comes through the passion and desire to just, sounds silly. Maybe this is what an untalented old man says, but just like looks comfortable on their board, even if it's a solid push or an ollie
Mm-hmm.
up a curb or whatever else. Like, this person's invested time
Mm-hmm.
in what they've done, and that they have a supportive group of people or whatever that are down to film them.
Right.
I always feel like that goes a long ways.
I feel like that's one of the hardest parts. One of the hardest parts in skateboarding because especially like when you're younger, you only want to be around the best guys. You only want to film the best guys. And if you're not the best guys, you got to do something to
Yeah,
convince people to let you hang out with them, let
yeah,
alone like to try to film you do something that
yeah,
you know you're wasting film at this
right, yeah,
time, you're
yeah,
wasting camera
yeah,
battery. It's like, dude, I'm not filming you, you know, do some ridiculous trick, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Or some weak trick or
right. Something
something
that's not
lame,
worthy.
not
Yeah,
cool. Like that was like one of the hardest parts I feel like.
yeah,
And yeah, if you got any clips from a real filmer, you're like, wow, that let
yeah,
me just hold on to
right. Like,
this.
thank you.
Yeah, then
That's
never
awesome.
sees the light of day. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Never
right.
gets used. Like you get clips and you're like, oh, we're gonna do this, and you're like, dude, And then you
Yeah.
watch and you're like, oh, where's my clip? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
I'm totally guilty of that lunch break video.
oh, don't worry about that.
No, do you remember at the
Yeah,
premiere
at the
when
premiere.
you're so I did your title because you were supposed to have some clips in Chris's part. That was such like a last minute, like we scrambled so hard, but just to make a point and a whatever, bring that up. But I still have like 3 clips of yours that are so good that we ended up not using. So I
That's
apologize,
okay.
but
It's okay.
I
Like,
hear
like
what you're
so
saying.
used
It
to it.
just
It's
when
just
you
the way. That's the way it is.
I know, but it shouldn't be. But
No,
just you mentioning it made me want to bring it up. So
I wasn't gonna
I
bring
think
it
it's
up.
time. I have to go now. Just kidding.
I thought it was like, oh really? He like splits out. I'm like, what?
I'm glad we cleared this up.
Drops
Have a good day.
throws the
Yeah,
mic down.
just knock it over.
Yeah.
But no, I hear what you're saying. And with I guess in conjunction with that, I felt like I got after I moved to Colorado, somehow super lucky to get caught up with a handful of dudes that were down to film. Like Ryan Millard.
Oh yeah.
I met him up at Evergreen Skate Park. Yeah,
Ryan Malone.
that's awesome. I hope you see this, Ryan. Love you. Anyway, yeah, he was filming with a real fisheye, and I'd never seen one before.
hmm
And I watched the footage back. I think I did a tray flip over this little. It was funny. It was made out of masonite. Excuse me, masonite, but it looked like it already rained so much outside. It looked like cardboard. And yeah, I watched the tree flip over this pyramid, and he filmed it rolling with me from the bottom, and I was like, that looks awesome. Mostly the pyramid, not the tray flip. But yeah, he kind of took me under his wing, and I was surprised because it wasn't that good, but I think at that time maybe there was just not as many good people.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
so
Definitely.
it was a
Definitely.
smaller, even if you had somebody like Dave Davis that dude's always been, I'll just be straight up, way more talented than me, period. All good. Dave Barnes, Matt McCourt, all these other dudes. But somehow I was fortunate enough to fit in some kind of, niche, or they invited me in and we started filming, clips, and we made that first boardroom video, Neophyte, which is
Yeah,
such
I
a
was
funny
gonna talk
name.
about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah, I was trying
Cool.
to. I was pretty sure it was Neophyte, but I thought that Neophyte. It was like that's not the whole title, right?
Neophyte Aberration,
Neophyte
which is,
Aberration, right?
yeah, which is kind of funny. I think Spencer came up with the title, but he was obviously in a very,
Heavy metal.
yeah, and yes, it was very heavy metal-esque video in general. And I couldn't even tell you the definition. I'd have to Google map that
I was
right
gonna say. I
now,
was just
but
gonna ask you. Do you even know what
yeah,
that means? Because
yeah.
I
I think something like differentiating from the normal or something.
uh
Something along those lines. But that video was cool because it was my first shop video, and
that was
to get
that was
on
that a 303
Boardroom.
boardroom.
Boardroom
Okay.
made it. The Lakewood. No, Arvada.
When
There's
they were
this
by
dude.
Chuck E. Cheese right
Yeah,
here on
Jeremy.
Ralston.
Was it Jeremy Johnson?
I
His
don't
name
know.
was Jeremy. He
I
was the
never went
manager
there.
there. Oh, you didn't?
No.
Okay. He was rad. So they put me on the team, and then we started filming and made that video. But I remember it was funny because there were some friends that were going to college, and they edited it, and they were scared about using any music that we didn't have music rights on. And
Uh-huh.
this is like 1998,
And
dude.
nobody was
gave a
ever gonna
crap.
nobody's ever gonna see that
Yeah.
video.
So I called the band that I wanted to use, and the soundtrack is terrible.
Wait, how did you get the phone number of the band that you
So
wanted
I
to use?
looked on the CD. It
Oh.
was this Christian hardcore band, and I was super into them. They were called Focused. And I called them up, and they were like, "Wait, what's up?" They were like, I got a hold of them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, totally. I mean, we're on like this tiny record label.
Uh-huh.
You have our permission, if you need."
That's awesome.
So I got their permission, and then I got another. Remember Andy Madden?
Yeah.
He had a part in there, and I got there was a band called Strong Arm, another hardcore band, and I called and got their permission for those two
That's
songs.
amazing.
Yeah, and they were like, "Sure." What is
Yeah.
this gonna be like? You guys are gonna premiere this at your mom's house with
Yeah,
10
for
people
real.
watching,
Exactly.
which wasn't much. It was pretty much like that. But yeah, so speaking of Ryan Millard, he has a part in there, and him and Spencer skate to this terrible band. I love you guys, but we got backed into a corner a bit where the editing dudes were like, "Well, that's fine." So I don't know if Millard ever lived his song down. It was called Psycho Clown or something.
Oh no, I remember that, dude. I remember that. I remember that. That's so funny.
My song wasn't that much better, just for the
Right.
record.
Uh-huh.
It's like it was a lot of just I'd say audible pollution. I mean, this not to say that the band wasn't good or anything, but it's just not the best selected music.
Right.
And I've been guilty of doing that with other parts too. So anyway, but that the way that whole video came around and because of the time that it came out, I think it did okay. You
Mm-hmm.
know, as far as
Right.
who knows, maybe like 100 people saw it.
Yeah.
But we would make homemade copies of VHSs and
Yeah.
do the artwork on
They
them.
Aaron Wheat had one of those. He had that video at the Wet House for a while. And I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is some old like boardroom video or something like
Yeah.
that." And I'm like, "Dude, let me borrow that." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, take it." And I just recently, like in the last
Oh, you
like
did?
4 years, returned it to
Yeah.
him
Oh,
finally
that's
somehow.
awesome.
But I had it forever at my house, and I'm like, I need to give this back. I've had this forever.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I just talked to him the other or yesterday on the phone. He's in Florida.
right.
Yeah, so that dude's the best.
Yeah. Was he in that video?
I don't he might have no, he had a clip or two, but he was had a part in Semantic Blockage, which was the next boardroom video that came out, I'd say a couple-ish years later.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saba was on and Spencer was still on, I think, and Aaron Wheat and I can't Metal Micah or
Okay.
Smicah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then who
Stalker.
else? Oh, Brian. What's Brian's last name? Yeah, Micah Stalker. There's Brian, and I'm so sorry. I can't remember your last name, but he had a part in there too. Crazy Kanizer.
Oh yeah.
Brian Kanizer.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway.
Oh, that's great,
But
dude.
yeah, it was that video was rad too. So anyhow. Sorry, I feel like we got like
No, I
so much we
don't
could cover.
apologize.
Like
I
we
know that's
could
what
be
I'm
here
saying.
till
Don't.
6.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was asking you if you have any time
Yeah.
because I told Will I'm like this might go on for a while, dude.
Yeah.
Like we got to be out of here like kind of mostly cleaned up by like 5.
Oh,
But I
okay.
think
We're yeah, I
if
gotta
we go till 5, that'll be awesome. But don't
yeah.
worry about it. Like on my
Okay.
end, like if we go on tangents until
Yeah. All right.
4:50, that'll be amazing. I'll be super stoked.
You look at like the viewer amount by then.
Oh,
They're
I
like, oh,
don't.
we're now down to -10.
Negative viewers.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm deleting the app
Yeah,
and
yeah. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Machio. I didn't mean to defame your show that much.
no viewership is not my concern. It's just
Yeah.
about having the conversations and
Sick.
having anybody who's willing
Yeah.
to care to tune in for any part of it is cool. But I just really want to get like this documented and
Yeah. I appreciate that. That's
I got
cool.
like this cool paint on my sleeve
Oh,
here.
dude, I have like melted cheese or grilled cheese on my shirt from lunch. I'm crushing it.
Yeah,
I just saw it in the bathroom. I'm like,
yeah. I'll save that for later.
yeah. It's 4 o'clock. I'm hungry. We have no
Just
viewers.
sucking cheese flavor out of your t-shirt. But
Uh,
yeah, so no, don't worry about that. Like this
yeah.
is great. This is going just as well as I was hoping. Like
Okay.
covering a lot of
Sick.
stuff, as much stuff as we can cover. Like
Yeah.
we're
I know.
really
I feel
barely
like,
scraping the surface of this.
yeah.
So I'm having a blast. So
Okay. Cool.
don't you don't have to apologize or anything. Like I hope
Yeah.
people are watching. I know somebody's got to be enjoying this as much as I am. So yeah, this
Even
is
if
really
it's one
great.
other person.
Yeah, for me,
Even if
like
it's Dave.
yeah, just me and Dave hanging out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So sick.
totally worth it. And yeah, this is such a good project. I'm just so stoked
Yeah.
that you're
No.
here. And
Thank you.
like we're people don't know me and you and Aaron were talking about this since pre-pandemic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just never kind of there was just so much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna work out. But initially, I had asked Shad and Wheat to help me kind of get this off the ground and co-host this with me and kind of be really more hands-on on the project. And we'd gone back and forth with it for probably about a year, and just things weren't coming together. And I don't know, just decided to just fire it off and just see how it goes. And
Yeah.
didn't want to, I've already said to you and we like I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have happened otherwise.
No,
So
it wouldn't have. I'm so glad you pulled the trigger because we had really good intentions to do something, but yeah, he was even a younger dad than me at the time. Like had a little Zephyr was just a little dude, and obviously I have 2 kids, and just life is so busy. So when I found out you were actually doing it, dude, I was so stoked. I was like, this is awesome. It would have been cool to be in your position a bit more, but to the bottom line is to know that somebody's doing it is what we was our desire anyway.
Right, right.
So that's yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, and like I was saying, it's I tell everyone that comes on the show, if you wanna come back or you want to co-host or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever or be a part of this in any other way, like just let me know. And
That's awesome.
I feel like the more the merrier. It'll be
Yeah,
cooler to have different people with different perspective and
for
stuff like that.
sure.
So, like I tell you, anytime you want to come back on and co-host
Sick.
with me or whatever it's
Dude, that
convenient for you,
yeah.
that'd be cool.
I would love to co-host with you.
Yeah. So neophyte and then somatic blockage, right?
Yeah,
And then after that was what?
I think that might have been as far as anything I was associated with because I didn't really have anything to do with semantic blockage because I don't know what happened. Maybe started skating for this shop called Totally Bored, which is hilarious
Where's
because
that at?
it's down in Lakewood off 285 and Watts. It's
Definitely not
no longer
anymore,
exists. It was next
right?
to a vitamin cottage,
Okay.
and this dude Jeff owned it, and he snowboarded, and he was actually a rad dude. He had really good intentions. He didn't skate much, but he was more into snowboarding. But he had a mini ramp in the back of the shop, and I don't know what happened. I think it was just post. Oh, I think the boardroom might have closed down in Arvada,
Mm.
and so he asked me to start skating for that shop. Um,
Were you skating for boardroom?
yeah, when we put
How
out
did
Neophyte,
how did you get onto boardroom?
dude, this is um. So trying to think. I think no, no, no. I remember. Sorry, dude. I just had the biggest brain fart. There was a Think demo in Lakewood in like this parking lot. And I don't think it was far from the Lakewood boardroom. But Dan Drahobel was there, Tim McKinney, Jesse Paez, and maybe one other Think Pro. But it was like invite only, like the shop dudes and then these pros, and they were skating this wedge to wedge that was kind of
Steep.
abrupt with an 8 foot gap across the top. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it had a table
Uh-huh.
and then this double shotgun rail that was like this big round. You
Uh-huh.
guys see that? Like 1 inch. And sketchiest setup ever. And then like maybe a tall ledge over here, and it was on a downhill classic parking lot where you're like, I'm gonna push back uphill. But the dudes, I can't remember who it was, but they invited me to skate in the demo.
Mm-hmm.
And at that age, I had that syndrome where I was like, oh man, I'm going to try so hard and show these guys what's up. And blah. And now in hindsight, I'd be like, shut up, just sit down and watch the pro skate, kid. But since they invited me and they were allowing the team dudes to skate,
Mm-hmm.
I just skated super hard. And I think after that, they asked me if I wanted to skate for the shop,
Oh,
which
sick.
is cool because
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen anytime in the past 15 years from me now. Like
Oh.
I'm just not. It's just interesting, like where your motivation comes from when you're younger and your intention.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, you couldn't even like if you told me to go out and skate to stoke you out or impress you
Uh-huh.
right now, I'd be like, just gonna go home and cook a steak.
Go and cook a steak.
I'm good. But yeah, so I think that's how I got on the shop, and which was cool because coming from nowhere, middle of nowhere,
Right.
and then having a local shop to even go into and just like look at all the boards and
Mm-hmm.
just blown away, and for them to be like, "Do you want to skate for us?" I was like, "Okay." But anyway,
And so you're on boardroom. How long were you skating for them for?
I think a couple years.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's quicker, probably if you look at the timeline, probably not that long, but it felt longer.
Yeah, in those
And
times.
yeah, and then the board or the totally bored thing came up, which unfortunately, like 303 had just come into the picture too, and I was friends with, I've known Sam and all those dudes forever, but um, yeah, I kind of just got stuck in this. I'm not stuck. I was stoked the dude took care of me, but like kind of on a, dare I say, a little bit of a whack shop, which was perfect for my circus tricks.
Uh-huh.
So
You just fit right in.
yeah, so that lasted like I'd say like another maybe a couple more years, and then I didn't really ride. I think I got on Boardroom after that. I've never ridden for 303 for the record.
I know that's wild because
Yeah,
you're.
because I had a part in Divided, and
Uh-huh.
that's a jump forward. Sorry, but yeah, I've always been closely associated enough with them that we do stuff,
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, I think I got on Brothers after that, and I want to say it was Brothers Boulder,
Uh-huh.
not Tony.
Uh-huh.
So Tony's shop.
Right.
So anyway, sorry if I'm rambling.
No, you're good. That's what you're here for.
Brr, brr,
That's
brr,
what we
brr,
pay
brr,
you
brr,
for.
brr. The check is good.
Yeah. So, how did you get on Brothers? What was that transition?
It seemed like same thing. Maybe we were skating a demo or something at. Oh, they used to do like a trade show or something at. Do you remember the I don't remember the name of the building and they tore it down, but Gordy messed this rail up. It was the two-sided square rail and it was down probably like a five-stair downtown. It was at a
Oh,
convention center maybe or something, but they
he did like the no slide big spin or no slide
yeah,
shove it on it. It's like a
yep,
little tiny
yep.
tiny reel, like
Yeah, Dave messed that up too. It seemed like he did
like
something.
crooked grind on it or something like
Maybe,
that.
but it was like if you saw it in real life,
Or
you're
was
like,
that
all right, this is legit.
Shelly did the crooks
Shelly
on
might
there?
have, yeah, I can't
I
remember,
don't know what you're
but
talking
it
about.
was brown. It was like dark brown in color, like nice square, but it also had,
It's
yeah, it
like a
was two,
like a bridge
maybe,
in the background,
which
like a
could have been part of the convention center. It's
okay.
where it's not far. It's like a block away from there, where that Big Blue Bear is now.
Oh,
That
okay,
it's
okay.
completely, they
Different.
completely redid it. But anyway, they had some demo there, and the brothers guys were there, and I skated with them. And then Josh Zickert, I guess, was the team manager of the Boulder Brothers.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with him at all?
No.
Okay, he's rad. I haven't talked to him or had any association in years, but he was super down, and I guess he, yeah, he got me on the team, which I once again was feeling a little guilty because I was like, these dudes are rip. Sean Robinson,
Mm-hmm.
are you familiar with him at all?
No,
He was younger, I guess probably the same age, so we were younger then, but he had a really heavy tie-in with like with brothers and like Sammy Baptista, and he was on the team, and he
Sammy
ripped.
Baptista was like grew up in Boulder, right?
Yeah, I mean he's from Santa Barbara, but he was out here for a while, and my memory's blurry on that. But he seemed like he was always around, like had some kind of a presence.
You skated with him back in those days?
Yeah, a little bit, as
Uh-huh.
much as I could, because he
Uh-huh.
would crush ledges, and I'm like, I don't know how to like switch back tails and
Right.
switch kickback tails. Dude's amazing.
Yeah,
He
super good.
actually, real quick, has done some stunt work with my brother or through a same company out in LA, probably to just keep the lights on,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Really?
Um, but yeah, just like I guess 6 degrees of separation or whatever, the close
Right, right, right.
whatever, yeah. So they have worked together on shows doing like skate stunt work stuff in the past because Williams obviously into that or has done that before. But speaking of Sammy Baptista,
Yeah.
anyway,
And then Chris just popped in. He says, I literally just made a Twitch account so I can comment. Lol. He's so pumped on this. Chris Schwartz
yes, hi Chris.
Chris is in the house. And then Dave's saying something about his family owned and started Brother Sports. Whose family, Dave?
Oh, the Baptistas, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
really?
Thank you, Dave. Sorry.
Wow, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
there was Rob. There was, I think, 3 or 4 brothers. Dave, help us out here, please. And I'm sorry for
Sammy
the lack of
Baptista, yeah.
information. Let's see what he can get
Yeah,
back
we
to
have
us.
to have our inside
It's
info,
our Dave Davis Wikipedia.
right? Yeah, so that's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyway, um, yeah, and that's how I kind of ended up going to Tampa with those dudes because they went like they must have had a legit budget or something because they flew us out there. They put us up. This is like a shop team.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I remember it because they had brothersboards.com stickers had
What?
just come out. And I was like, what's that?
What's a
Yeah. I
.com,
was like,
right?
and then I would try to go like onto the website and I didn't know how to type it in correctly. They're like, not found. But yeah, that was like the beginning of the internet
Yeah, yeah,
phase, I guess you could say.
that's crazy. And who would have thought that that was gonna be the thing to like turn skateboarding
Yeah, right.
completely all the way around? Looking in, and I feel like skateboarding was so ahead of its time. We were like the only ones out there doing selfies and filming each
Right.
other doing stuff like on a
Yeah.
day to day. Nobody was doing that. Nobody had cameras. Nobody was filming people doing normal stuff
Yeah.
and trying to distribute that footage.
Yeah.
And now it's the norm. Like
Yeah.
everybody's doing that, and you're like, dang, skateboarders like, oh, 411 or whatever, like trying to get video content to people on a
Yeah.
regular basis. That's all skateboarding. That's
Yeah.
skateboarding was where that all came from.
Yeah. I can't argue with that one bit. I feel like that that's a good point. for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too because I don't want to go too deep in this necessarily, but getting older, breaking down the psychology as to what makes you want to film stuff.
Yeah, that's so weird,
And
right?
like the I guess my concern is the vanity in it or like the self-obsession or the narcissism, but I I can't I was thinking about this morning before coming on here a bit if it came up, but I think it's just you see somebody else and you get inspired, you know? You watch Dave Davis tray flip down the Lakewood double set and you're like, "Oh, that's inspiring. I want to go try that." And I want to film it.
Hmm.
And I think that if that's kind of the mentality, that's a little bit healthier than where my thought process had gone for years. Because I've spent a lot of time obsessing over the dumbest ideas. Not dumbest, but just like things where you want to film something or you think of a trick and then you look back at on it in hindsight and you're like, oh cool, I spent the past 15, 20 years of my life obsessing over filming video parts for, and it doesn't matter what the platform is per se, but just like doing that in a way where you wonder if you could have utilized your time a little bit better. But I guess if the passion's there and you're just stoked to do it, maybe at the end of the day, that's kind of like what settles it. I don't know. Sorry, that was kind of a little bit of a
No,
rant.
I think it's kind of just that skateboarding is just like this ethereal thing. It's performance art, right? And you don't have any way
Yeah,
to reflect on it until someone films you, right?
yeah,
And so it's like you could do a 360 flip in a sec. It lasts half a second and
yeah,
it's gone, and you're like, it's just something about it's like picking a flower, right? It's like
yeah.
you could leave the flower there, or you like pick it,
Right.
or some kind of an analogous kind of
Yeah.
idea that it's something that just disappears immediately. So
If
I
you,
don't think it's like it could be narcissism, and I'm sure it has a big role in that as well. I don't disagree with you there,
yeah,
but I think it's just the nature of the art of skateboarding is something that's intangible, and
yeah.
it's like why do you draw a drawing? Is it narcissistic
Right.
to draw a drawing or to record a song,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's more relevant with the song because the music, once you stop playing, the music's gone, right? And
Right.
so there's no way to like capture it.
Yeah.
So
It's a good point.
it's just I feel like it's just a way to kind of frame a drawing or a
Mm-hmm.
painting or something like that. It's just something so you could actually turn something intangible into something
Yeah.
tangible.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that.
And I think that's kind of more of a relevant kind of
Yeah.
more fair kind of assessment
Yeah,
of why
instead
we
of
do it
yeah.
instead of having like, which I agree with you. It's like, yeah, I want to look at me because I want to look
Right.
at my
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
I
Or like
ride,
how did that yeah.
right,
But also skateboarding is very visual anyway. When you do look down, speaking of shoes, you when you look down at when you're skating, you want to be stoked on what you see. And as ridiculous as that sounds, if you don't if you don't feel like you look good to yourself, it doesn't matter what other people think,
right,
you're not going to feel good. And I think that goes, just it's just the
in
way it
life,
is.
that's life too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's when you
So,
start. That's whenever I start getting fat or something like that. I have dreams my like teeth are falling out. I'm
oh,
like, dude,
really?
yeah, or like my clothes will be all like whack and
Yeah,
my teeth will be falling out in my dreams. Like, dude, you gotta go get some new clothes or lose some weight.
that's
And
funny.
yeah,
That's just the way your brain's processing
I
your
think
concern.
I no, I just think that I read somewhere that if you have dreams that your teeth are falling out, it's associated with negative self image.
Yeah, I
and
could see that.
and so it's like, oh, you're fat. Like,
Yeah,
that's all that means.
you're just fat.
Yeah,
That's funny.
but
I've
yeah,
definitely had those dreams before. They're not common, but and it's devastating.
yeah, you're
Like
like, oh.
yeah, there was a new movie that came out not too long ago where the kid, it's like the end of the world. Leave the world behind.
Oh,
Did
okay,
you see it
I've
by
heard about
chance?
it.
Yeah. Anyway, the kid starts, his teeth start falling out, and it's something with the radioactivity or something, blah, blah, blah. But even in the movie, as a grown adult, you're like, that's terrifying. Like,
Yeah,
it's something that would cause your teeth to fall out
yeah,
is the
it's
worst.
awful.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, so all right, Boardroom Brothers, you're on Brothers for a decade, right? Basically.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. God bless you, Tony. Tony took, yeah. So I went from Brothers Boulder to Brothers in Denver, I guess, which they were they were associated, but it was still two different shops and two different teams. So I scooted over there and then kind of started um, Oh, it might have taken a little while. I might have been still piled out a little bit, but then we started getting serious about filming. What was it? Louder Than Words. Did you ever see that
No, I
video?
you know what? I've never that neophyte video. I think is the only brothers video I've ever seen to
Okay.
this day.
Okay.
I still haven't seen any of the
Yeah, and
brothers
that was
videos.
Boardroom. So Brothers
I'm
was
sorry.
no, no,
Excuse me.
no. So Brothers did Digital Days, and I had just gotten on the team, but still piled out. And then we started doing Louder Than Words. And yeah, if you can, I don't know if you can find it on YouTube or if we hit Tony up and see if he can post it. But both those videos are worth just knowing some Colorado skate history, I
Right.
guess. Because I think there was dudes like Adam Brown in there, Ramel,
Yeah.
Steve Irons.
Mm-hmm. And these are all guys that I'm familiar with just from their friends'
Okay.
tricks in 303
Yeah.
videos, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like Romel was one that he comes up and is like, dude, that guy was so sick, and he used to skate at Sea, or he had that those tricks at Seacrest in one of
Yep.
the 303 videos,
Yep. Dude,
and now
Seacrest was so sick.
yeah, that was right across the street from my house,
That's
and so
awesome.
that's like my spot. That's
Okay.
if anybody ever wants. You'll never. That's my spot. You guys can't contest that. Like
Yeah,
we
that's so
spent more time
sick.
skating there than anybody. So
Yeah.
I would always go there. I'm like, dude, maybe Gordy's gonna come, or like
Yep.
Romel, because you see him skating that spot. You're like, dude, I just wish that they would come and
Yeah, show up.
skate these benches, and they never did. And yeah, it was
Oh,
disappointing.
that's cool though that that was in your
Yeah,
backyard.
yeah, that was my spot.
Yeah, I remember that. That was one of those spots that didn't have much to do there, but I really enjoyed it and the smooth flat
Yeah,
ground.
smooth flat ground. That's
Yeah,
all we cared about. We would
yeah,
bring boxes over there, rails,
yeah.
just set up a little skate park for ourselves, and
That's sick.
that was our spot for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of Ramel, that dude's still ripping.
Oh yeah, he does. I've hit him up to come on. He's super busy too,
Okay.
and there's
Dude, that would be such a good
I would love an
episode.
episode of him
Yeah,
just
he's
because.
probably got so much information. He,
Let's see. Evan Kuzawa has a question. Chad, will you tell us your approach to leaping off dumpsters and onto rails 25 years ago? Were you training on the crappy square rails at metal parks like Golden, or just going for it in the streets? Scary stuff back when there weren't perfect street league plazas to prepare and train on.
no training. Just yeah.
Just charging.
Yeah, I didn't grind any kind of a rail until I moved to Colorado. And it was skate park Arvada,
Hmm.
skated Arvada a lot. And yeah, the whatever 2-inch square rail. Um, so yeah, I guess to answer the question, just kind of tried to go. Here's the thing too, very inspired. That was right around the era where I think Thrill of It All came out.
Oh.
And that video spoke to me because I felt like I was an underdog and
Mm.
like didn't know I couldn't do all the tricks all the other dudes could do, but it was inspiring to see those dudes charging it. And not that not that that video didn't have ridiculous talent in it, but I felt like they displayed a little bit more of like a raw just charging it kind of concept, and to me that had a lot of energy, and I felt like it spoke to me in a way where I could relate and I could go out and just ollie something big or just 50-50 something super
Just do a
sketchy.
180, a
Yeah,
big
and
180, or
yeah, and not that I didn't want to, I was still, I think, three flipping down stuff and some flip tricks, but it kind of made you feel a little more
motivated or excited.
motivated and accepted as to what you were capable of, and I
Right.
really fed off of that.
Hmm.
So that was kind of probably, as opposed to training on a rail for hours, that was my gasoline then around that time era. And then Welcome to Hell, Jamie's part. No.
Hmm.
I remember that whole video is amazing, but I never really had an interest for some reason to skate rails until I saw him do it, and it just opened my eyes up, I guess. And not that I jumped on anything to some of the caliber of what he was up to, but
Well,
just
I mean,
to realize,
how many people have, like,
yeah,
not that many.
yeah, I guess you're right, especially then. But
Hmm.
just that concept of, have you ever been scared of something and you don't know if you're gonna try it and you just flip the switch where you're like, I'm pulling the trigger. That feeling alone is
Yeah,
one of the best
maybe a couple
feelings.
times, one or two times.
What's crazy though is when you do that and then you're like, oh, this is gonna take 2 hours. I have to pull the trigger for the next
Yeah,
100 attempts. It's not
right.
like I just,
You just make
yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah,
You opened a door, but
yeah.
you're still having to open the
You
door
just
every
open that
time.
can of worms.
Yeah. And that kind of skating spoke to me, I guess, because I felt like I could be in that realm somewhat instead of, yeah, the dude that's, backsmith kickflip out on a ledge or something. I've never been a tech skater.
Right.
So anyway,
I feel like it depends on what you consider tech. I feel like if you can do, I don't know,
what
skating just flat flip tricks on flat ground is pretty technical. If you ask me.
I hear what you're saying. I guess what I think a lot of times too, though, when you think about that, you're like, okay, well, somebody's taking these flip tricks and they're doing them in and out of a
Hmm.
tail slide or a crooked grind, and
Yeah, and
that to me is just, yeah, too
I
much.
feel like we need another term for the kind of crazy stuff that people are doing in that realm of skateboarding
Yeah,
nowadays. You know what I mean? Because it's
Tori
like
Pudwell syndrome.
day one, day one kind of old day one.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that stuff's insane.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Honestly, I would watch that, like round two when I was a kid, and I was like one of the first. I think it might have been the first video that I ever had, and just like
yeah, just melting your brain.
yeah,
Yeah. See, that's the stuff that it kind of puts me in a category where I'm like realizing like, well, maybe I'm not that, I mean, not that I disagree with this anyway, but like maybe I'm not that good because I can't even relate
mm,
to what these dudes are
or
doing.
even understand it. Or
Yeah, right. I'm like, I kind of feel like a poser of the month. I'm
oh
like,
yeah,
oh, this is awesome, but so anyway, back to the whole, thrill of it all. Um, Welcome to Hell era and just seeing that simpler, more powerful skating
hmm
and being able to relate to that a little bit more.
and I
So,
feel like during that era is kind of when like you had the trajectory of mainstream skate, not mainstream, but kind of Cali industry skateboarding, right? And then you have
yeah,
Colorado's caliber of our best dudes, and it was getting like this,
yeah,
you know what I mean, right around that time,
yeah,
like thrill of it all, and then it kind of was like in that era, like
yeah.
it, dudes here were getting really
No,
close to
I
doing
agree.
what they were doing out there.
Dude, who cares? Who cares was,
Oh
I
yeah,
felt like the trans world video of Colorado as
right.
far as the level of talent. And
Mm-hmm.
then, I think Ryan Millard had a lot to do with filming that. He had a footage in that too. But that video was on a whole nother level
Yeah, that
as
was
far as
great.
talent goes. Yeah, Mike Hollinger, remember that rally ground in uh, Santa Fe, I want to say. It was like the flat down, flat down. It was insane. But I remember he did that and he probably did it in genetics. But his part was
Oh, wait,
insane.
the one in the football
Football field,
field.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
no one did anything
I
on
think
that for
Lutheran ground it and got a cover like 15 years
yeah,
later.
15
Yeah.
years later. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also why we're at it, Micah Staples Center.
Oh
What?
yeah.
Come on. That's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Insane.
Shelly had a part in that. Gordy's part was insane. If I'm forgetting anybody else, but the whole video was stacked with ridiculous talent. I feel like that's when 303's like I feel like the videography and the talent of skating and the editing and everything was at its, as far as like a video for that time frame to
Mm,
come out. And then yeah, it was just really well done.
yeah. And then yeah, of course. And so we're getting to back to brothers. You
Yeah.
have in those times you had well those two videos you just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
And then this was kind of what year around? 98?
I'd say 98, 99-ish. And then Consider the Odds came out. If we're
Right.
gonna, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, let's talk about the 303 videos, not anything I was associated with. Can
Right.
we do that? Just
Yeah.
kidding.
But I mean,
I'm just kidding.
no, I mean, I only know you. You're only relevant in my perspective because of the 303 videos because I didn't
Okay.
I didn't know I
Yeah.
didn't even know what a boardroom was until
Yeah,
I was
yeah, I
like
got you.
17
Okay.
and I didn't know anything about that and I thought all of the dudes that were in the friends section of the 303 videos all skated for 303 as a kid just
Yeah,
just
it's just your
consuming it.
assumption.
I
Yep.
I don't know anything. I don't know enough about the scene or how the dynamics of the politics in the scene worked.
Yeah.
I thought you guys all skated for 303. That was just
Okay.
all I knew.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. Like
That makes sense.
I lived in Arvada. I went to Arvada High School. 303 was right across the
Yeah.
parking lot. I lurked there all the time. That's the only thing I knew. I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about anything else until I
Yeah.
was almost an adult.
Okay.
And so
That's
my
sick.
exposure to your skating is only through the 303 videos.
Okay.
So just from my perspective,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
just learning about all this stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I said,
Thanks
even
for
to this
having.
day, I haven't seen any of the brother videos. Like
Yeah.
I just haven't.
Okay.
And I knew like a lot of my friends skated for brothers, and I
Yeah.
didn't. Still, I'm
Yeah.
ashamed to say I never really
Well,
saw that
dude,
stuff.
yeah, it's all good. It is what it is.
Yeah. So consider the odds, right? So you don't even skate. You don't even skate for 303, and all of a sudden this whole video is about you somehow, and I didn't understand that. Like,
Yeah.
what was all that about, bro?
Well, here's the thing. My really good friend Mark Spencer made that video, and he was associated with 303, so I think they sponsored it. But it was, I'd almost dare to say it was more of an independent project of his.
Okay.
And we were really good friends, and we were hanging out all the time. And, this is footage he was accumulating, just like almost like Jackass CKY2K inspired garbage. Somehow he not garbage on his end, but like
Hmm.
I guess that's coming from my own like
In
self-deprecating perspective. So
retrospective,
yeah,
right?
bear with me on that. But yeah, just piling out so hard, partying, drinking, and he's documenting it and not necessarily a way to glorify it,
Hmm.
but just it is what it is kind of deal.
Hmm.
And obviously looking back on it to me, at least because I've changed a long time ago, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt, and hopefully somebody that watches it can be like, I don't want to be like that. But I think it was at the time entertaining, and he had a vision for it.
Uh-huh.
And he's like sober dude. He's not like, yeah, we're
Uh-huh.
feeding off of this.
Uh-huh.
He's just like, this is gonna make a video about this. And
Right.
I don't get me wrong. I mean, I only had one section, and I feel like a lot of the other stuff or content was more skateboard specific. But yeah, our part was, I think it was myself, Matt McCourt, and our friend Aaliyah at the time, which
Hmm.
is funny. She was
Yeah.
like the hype girl.
Yeah. What was the story about her? 'Cause
She was
I'm like,
my
who is this chick?
she
Like,
was
what
a
is she doing here in
roommate of
this video?
mine, and she grew up. Her older brother skated. They're from Evergreen, and she would always be hanging out at Evergreen skating and stuff. So just a friend,
Okay.
and somebody that I was, yeah, we were roommates at the time, and I think we were all just drinking too much and feeding off of that. And Mark would either stay with us, or we were all kind of downtown. It just reminds me of like, I don't know what a good comparison would be, like poor man's baker or something, or like not even baker, but what was the company where they were all oh, remember the Sixth and Newell video?
Nuh-uh. What was that?
It's like Alyssa Steamer, Nate Jones, Frank Gerwer, um, SF video. But I
Okay.
can't, and it's gonna be a terrible comparison, but I think just like a lot of having a way too much of a good time and skating just a little bit, and it would turn into more of like just us being debaucherous, honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
and um, not stoked on it, but it happened and it is what it is. So there
Yeah.
we are.
It's
So
yeah. It's history. It's
yeah,
documented.
yeah,
It's what happened. There's no. It's
yeah,
not like someone wrote a script and
yeah,
fabricated some
right.
nonsense about what happened.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of just how that came about. And Mark made that video. And it is what it is. And it is entertaining, and it's cool to watch the other parts more so from my perspective. But yeah. And after that, and are you getting any questions or anything on it?
Um, Dave said First Brothers video 5280. I gotta see. I'll check that out definitely.
That's right.
And
Sorry,
then
Dave.
let's see what else are people saying.
Did Rob
We can
Ficelli make?
also, if you want to shout out Dave, he actually donated 100 bits.
Oh, hell yeah,
Dang.
Dave. Thanks for the donation, bro. Thank you so much. And
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And you're salvaging this interview with
yeah,
all your
yeah,
information.
yeah, definitely. Pulling it out of the gutter. Um,
Yeah, 5280, which was, yeah, before kind of any, I guess, my existence in Colorado. And then Dave, do you remember My America? I think that was an independent film, but Dustin Charlton had a part in there. And it was kind of gnarly. There was some pretty explicit heroin use
oh,
in
really?
that.
In
Like,
the video?
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, somebody shooting his foot up. And I don't remember who made that, but I think, yeah, 5280 was the First Brothers video. So just to make sure we're getting it right.
Hmm.
This dinosaur's history is off. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. You're a gem in the Colorado skate history, bro, in my eyes.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate
And
that.
like I said, it's like I didn't say it, but yeah, you're one of the guys that, as far as my exposure to skateboarding, you've always been there, always been doing something, always producing something. And since before I ever picked up a skateboard, and like I said, out of the blue, Consider the Odds was my first like introduction to
Yeah.
what people around me were doing with skateboarding, and
Yeah.
you're always have been there. Like I said, in videos, in big videos for teams you didn't even skate for, which is just insane to me to think about. You
Yeah.
know what I
Well,
mean?
thank you.
And
Appreciate that.
yeah, it's like huge inspiration. You know, just it's
Yeah.
just super happy that you're here and that you're still skating, and just
Yeah.
really stoked for everything that you contributed. And
Thank you.
even stuff like let's talk about like skate church for a little bit. Like, how did you
Yeah.
get involved in that? Because that was, for
Was it?
us kids, that was huge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially during the winter time, go inside
Yeah.
skate
Yeah.
church and hang out and skate. And like, how did that go?
I guess that was kind of during, and if you want to throw it on a era, I think that was like Advocate era,
Oh, okay.
and um, I can't remember, but I think maybe Urel was associated there, and he was maybe like pastoring or doing youth pastor stuff there. I can't remember, so I apologize. But yeah, we used to just come down and skate, any Thursday night we could. And then I started, and this might have been started happening a few years later. My memory's blurry on it, and not because I was drunk. Um, I ended up, when Urel was involved, started helping build and design stuff, but I think that was 5 or so years later. So I know we used to come down and meet up with Monaco and Josh Amanza, rest in peace.
Hmm.
And that's where I met you,
Right.
so I think we just had some really rad sessions there, and like you said, in the middle of winter and nighttime, and yeah, kind of just got, I wouldn't say foot in the door there, but just started, meeting kids and hanging out and having fun skating with people down there. So, and then it moved down to city of Sheridan. That's where Urel took it.
Oh,
Then
okay.
that's a completely now,
I didn't
which
know
is
that. Is it still
curbside.
there? Is it still there?
Yeah, but it's curbside now.
Oh,
So, and that there's like a long story to that. I don't know if it's worth getting into, but if you ever so yeah, if you ever want to go skate what I think is a super good ledge. They have a really buttery ledge in there.
oh, at curbside?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course I've been to
Oh, you
curbside.
have?
Of
Okay,
course.
sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Your response made it sound like you were like, "Oh, curbside. I don't know."
No, I just didn't know that skate
Yeah.
church
Yeah,
was
so it morphed into
curbside.
yeah, it's there. Yeah, like I said, there's a long story with it, but um yeah, so speaking of skate church,
And you're building all those ramps at the end of that era, right?
yeah, and then at curbside, I helped Urel when it was Skatetuary, and we did quite a bit of stuff down there.
So
And
skate
yeah,
church is Urel's then, or
it was, and then he stepped away from it, and then it kind of, like I said, there's a lot to it, but Michael Pinhill ended up ultimately taking over it, and he's kind of in charge of it now. Do you know Michael
no, I don't.
Pinhill?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He long time skateboarder, but anyway, he runs the show down there at Curbside now.
Okay.
So, but I just helped him design and build ramps. I guess it's been years now when he kind of took over. So, but I do love building skateboard ramps.
Yeah, and so I mean the ramps, all the stuff that you built is really good. What
Oh, thank you.
what it like how did you go about like kind of getting that dialed in?
I guess ever since I was like 14, 15, I've always had a desire to build anything skate. So just started messing around with it then, and I think it just kind of developed from there. So I've had a mini ramp in my backyard years ago that I built, and I'm just gonna say it. Speaking of Advocate Burning Daylight era, we went on a couple mission trips to Brazil. And
Right.
got to build a skate park there in a week,
Wow,
which was awesome.
that's so cool.
Yeah, some pretty rad stuff.
Who was
So
filming you guys went on that trip?
mostly Mark.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
Mark
okay.
is heavily involved with Advocate. I'd
Right.
say he's even like the brains behind the entire operation,
Okay.
which the dude is a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's yeah,
Yeah, I think
best filmer.
that was the peak of when I was hanging around with you guys the most because I was just kind of following Josh
Okay,
wherever
yeah,
he went, and
yeah,
he was filming most of that video.
yeah. No, dude, Josh was a godsend because
Hmm.
we were trying to get it done, and Mark was so busy, working on the video and life and everything else. Obviously, we're not getting paid to do skateboarding and whatnot, but he came out, and I developed a good friendship with him. Like I'd say, like the last year and a half of finishing that video.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was awesome. Super good times. And just the fact that he was dedicated
Yeah,
down.
he was the
Dude.
most dedicated dude.
Yeah, I loved that. You could go to a spot with him and know that you're not gonna hear in 30 minutes like, I'm hungry. Or like
Yeah,
I gotta go to the
no, he
bathroom.
just
He's like, let's
100%
skate
hype.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
totally
the
hype.
morale
Yeah.
with that
Uh-huh.
was priceless. And I cherish and treasure it even more,
Yeah.
now that he's gone.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he was a huge help in
Hmm.
kind of the pushing to just help finish that
Yeah,
video.
and it looked really good, and Josh was such a good filmer.
Yeah, he was the dude that, and there's a handful of people like this too, but where you didn't have to tell them, because I get a tendency to be particular, I guess maybe because I've been behind the camera, where I have a vision for how something looks, and you want to make it look as good as you can or what you think
Mm.
it looks good. And I never had to ever be like, could you get a little closer with the fisheye, or could you do this? I'd watch footage back, and I'm like, it's exactly how I wanted it to look,
Right. Yeah.
which is sick.
Another thing sick about Josh was that you didn't have he already had an idea for you in his head, like we're going to this spot and I want you to skate it, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean. It would never take you somewhere where you were uncomfortable
right.
or you
He
would
had a
go.
realistic vision.
Yeah, he had
Sorry to
a yeah,
interrupt
no,
you.
that's 100%
Yeah,
appropriate comment
yeah,
because he had a realistic vision, and but without the expectation, you know what I mean.
yeah,
And he's just like, oh, we're gonna go to this spot and we're gonna have fun, and I know you can get some tricks here, and I just want to get better at filming, and I just want somebody to be there
yeah,
that could do something at this spot. And
yeah.
you know what I mean. I always ended up hanging out with him because of that. It's like, dude, he's not gonna take me somewhere gnarly. He'll actually
Right.
film me trying something. He's
Yeah.
gonna take me to a spot that I can actually skate, and he is actually wants to see me make something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the only dude that I ever skated with that was like that.
Yeah.
Where
Wasn't too cool for school. He was
no,
super supportive,
hmm
and he didn't have an agenda.
no,
Yeah.
he just wanted to get good at filming. He just
Yeah.
wanted to see his friends get clips, and that was just such a rare jewel, dude, of a
Yeah.
dude. And yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. So that's, I mean, best dude, like best experience.
Yeah. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a few dudes that come up every single episode. Josh is one of them,
That's awesome.
and yeah, just give love to Josh because he was the baddest.
I agree. Right on.
And yeah, so Advocates, that was what was that? That was your company or?
No, it was actually so did you see the video, or have you seen it?
Of course,
Okay.
yeah. I don't have it here. It's in my house, but of course, it's one of my favorite like
Yeah,
videos of the
awesome.
era.
Okay, cool. So Brandon Skolton has a part in it.
Hmm.
His parents essentially own the company or were funding it, and then Mark was kind of, I guess, creative director, if you will. And then I stepped in and tried to help out wherever I could. Um, but it was kind of a group effort, so we all had, I guess, some sort of a presence with it. But then, yeah, the objective obviously was, or one of them was to make a full-length video. And then, unfortunately, Brandon's mom got cancer and passed, I think, shortly, not too long before the video came out. And then we decided to kind of pull the plug on the company after the premiere, or
Oh,
shortly after, just
uh-huh.
because it was kind of a way to say goodbye and
Oh,
just
okay.
let go of things, I guess.
Hmm.
And um, yeah, that was kind of where we were at with it. So it was cool because it had its run, and we felt like the kind of the cutting the ties cleanly in hindsight, I think, were best. And everybody was just, sad and broken hearted over her loss. And I think it was a good time to close that chapter, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So anyway,
No, that video was super sick. I mean,
oh, thank you.
that was one of maybe my favorite local video of that area, like
Oh,
the late
sick.
late or early 2000s.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
That one was really sick.
Right. Well,
Yeah, I
thank you.
really love that video a lot.
Yeah, it
Um,
was fun. I
yeah,
feel like it.
and it was sick because I was there for a lot
Yeah,
of those
that goes a
clips.
long
You know what I
ways.
mean? You're
Like
like,
that
yes,
firsthand footage.
yeah. You're like,
Yeah,
yes. I remember we were at that spot and like a lot of Williams parts, a lot of Williams tricks. I was at most of those sessions. Um,
that's rad.
yeah, that was a good time just hanging out with people actually doing something sick and like being able to be around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was really happy about that.
that's
And so
awesome.
I feel maybe I just like it for that sentimentality,
Yeah,
just
and that's
on the personal
yeah,
level, you
and
know.
that's okay. That's awesome. It's
And
sick.
yeah, so yeah, that video is super sick. And then what else was I gonna kind of segue into? Oh yeah, I want to talk about free will
Oh yeah, free will. So
because
that was yeah. Sorry, do you have a question before I
no,
jump in any?
just kind of go fire away with
Okay.
what the story is.
So that was right, kind of, and I don't know why I have to
It,
apologize, but it
they
was
had like the promo on the Retina video.
yes, they did, and I think that was right. So that was around the time where, and viewers, anybody that's listening, I guess I apologize for using this as a reference, but it's a important part of my life. I had been sober for a little while, and then free will started because before that, I think there was talk of maybe a company, but I was too much of a pile to like. People were like, "We don't really want to. This guy's not." So free will came around, and it was rad because it was T Law and Paul
Oh
Azevedo. Paul's so sick.
yes.
Who else? Help me out
Was
here.
it Phil McCarty? Was
Yes. Oh, he might have been on Icon.
I thought
Or was it
I
was
think
it
I
Free
think
Will?
it was
Okay.
free will
That
because
dude was
it was
they
like
split us up.
super hesh dudes, right?
Yeah.
And I think Phil ended up being on a
Free
free
Will,
will,
and he was yeah, it was more of like Icon, but it
right?
was still a good fit. Yeah, so
I
Phil
think that's what it
McCarty,
was.
that dude was the nicest dude ever, and obviously the sickest. I always think of like in my mind the most proper
Nolly
nollie
nose
nose
slide.
slides,
Yep, me
like
too.
just above the ledge and
Uh-huh.
into it.
Just fully
Yeah,
locked in. That's one of my favorite tricks
yeah,
ever, nollie nose slide, and that was the first time I saw him. Like he did on like the wood hubba,
yep,
right?
yep,
And I was like, whoa,
yeah.
that was
The one
so
in the springs.
yes, that
Yeah,
was so sick to me.
yeah, yeah. Mike Gilbert was involved with that, which is cool. Because he went on to work for Pop War and then Zero
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if he's still associated with the industry, but he's done a lot for
Yeah, I
skateboarding.
see him just catching fish
Yeah,
out on the
yeah,
boat.
yeah,
That's all I
which
see
is
him doing
sick.
anymore.
Yeah, which is rad.
Yeah, totally.
But anyway, yeah, Free Will was cool because it was like, I guess you felt really a part of it. Oh, I got this terrible, terrible Free Will dagger tattoo on my arm
Oh,
from Spencer
is it
Risebach.
anymore?
It's embarrassing.
Let's go, dude.
It's like the size of a Barbie doll.
That's so awesome.
Sometimes I think about taking a belt sander to it,
Of
but
just
yeah,
freaking sanding it off.
it's so bad.
No way, that's
So
awesome.
that, yeah, Spencer Risebach, he was on Free Will too, I think. And if he wasn't, he might have just given me the tattoo to pass on the torch.
Okay.
But anyway, but yeah, that was obviously short-lived. We were supposed to make a video that turned into, oh, what is it? It all meshed together because it didn't work out. The Fever. Remember that?
Oh yes,
Yeah, so
that
Mike
video
Gilbert made
so
that
good.
so good. Really well done. But we originally were trying to do I think do a Free Will video, and it just morphed into a shot video, which is fine. And then
Which one?
the Fever. I don't know,
Oh,
just like
oh.
with the concept maybe of a Free Will video,
And so
and then
where did that where Icon and Free Will, they were kind of two companies by the same.
yeah,
Who was behind all that?
303.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was just
303 was
it was
the
basically their
mom.
precursor to like Street Trash
Yeah,
and Colfax, where they wanted
exactly.
to have these other
Yeah,
brands.
yeah.
And I thought they
So
were. I skated Icon a lot of Icon boards when I was coming up.
yeah,
I really liked that.
I did too. Because we ran out of Free Will boards,
Uh huh.
and the Icon boards were prime wood. I remember they had like a little bit more delayed
Mm-hmm.
tail.
Like little
Yeah,
more subtle, right?
yeah, and I felt like that was better for flip tricks. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it was funny. We went out to a skate trip slash contest in Seattle. I think Sound and the Fury. And
Yeah,
once
I remember
again,
that
yeah,
that
and
footage. That was in Was it Who Cares? I think
Yeah, I think it was maybe, and if I'm
no,
wrong,
no, Out of the Blue. It was a lot of
was
the.
it Out of the
It
Blue?
was Out of the Blue because it was a huge part of that video was that footage from that contest where they're jumping over the car
Yeah,
and
that might have been the year before I
or
went.
wait, no, it was one of the. I don't. I'm
Yeah,
not. Don't quote me because
yeah, no,
I'm all
you're
mixed
good,
up.
you're good. There was, I can't remember what year that footage and what video that was in, but I think it might have been the year before, or maybe even 2 years, that the Sound and the Fury footage you're talking about was in Out of the Blue. But I could be wrong too.
I
So
don't remember.
just a couple of
Yeah,
idiots.
just old. We're talking about skate history. Nobody knows anything about the skate history.
You need to
We're
find.
just making up stories.
We need to find another host and a
Yeah,
guest.
yeah. Good luck though.
But anyway, yeah, we went out to the Sound and the Fury, and that was like I felt like the height of Free Will and Icon. Windsor James was on that trip.
Mhm.
David Reyes, Justin Shardy. Dude, Justin Shardy's the best dude.
He's so sick.
I got to know him really well on that trip. I felt like we broed down super hard, and it was just super fun. Shelly and Micah, Eric Shelley and Micah had flights. I think they flew out there and then they purposely missed their flights so they could ride back in the 15 passenger van. And it was like a 24-hour drive straight.
Uh-huh.
And I remember Micah was so drunk. He was throwing Red Bulls at Ryan Millard in the front seat. And Ryan was already so pissed off that he didn't catch his flight home. I remember it was this huge, like,
Tension.
and, yeah, and Micah's just like, "Ah." By the way, Micah's, I'm pretty sure he's sober these days, just for the record. But I remember that being a funny story because we already had a full van, and these guys are like, well, we had free plane tickets. We're just going to hop in with you and
That's
drive
so
you nuts.
funny, bro.
Yeah.
Torture you guys for a whole
Yeah.
day's worth of travel straight.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
But anyway, it was a good memory.
Okay, so that Retina promo for Free Will with the Youth Gone Wild, bro. Oh my
yeah.
god, dude. When I was a kid, I'm like,
Yes.
this is
That's
so ripping, bro. And what was the other promo where they had like they had like the Secure Fascination Street? Was that for
I can't remember.
was that the Icon?
That's-
Was that the Icon promo?
Maybe. And didn't Angel skate to a Cure song in the Fever, which was around that era? I'm sorry if I'm crossing your wires.
No. Angels. What did he skate to in the Fever?
Somebody skated to a Cure song, and it was really. Oh, maybe it's the intro. Boys Don't Cry.
Boys Don't Cry was
Yeah.
the intro to the Fever.
Yeah,
that was so good.
Yeah,
That
I
was
know.
so good.
Mike did such a good job on that video, and I love the filtering or like the whatever
Yeah,
effect for the intros.
Yeah. And then Riley was telling me that they were going to use that Le Tigre Decepticon song for the intro of that video.
Oh,
But
really?
they used Boys Don't Cry instead.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I remember giving Mike, because I had there was like a brother section in that video, and I had gotten hurt. I was trying to have a part, which, like I said, morphed from like Free Will video to a full part in this.
Trevor says Clash London calling. That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you,
Trevor.
I love you.
See,
Trevor's the best.
This is great, dude. The
This is great.
chat's great. They're
Yes.
definitely putting us in check because we're just
No,
talking
we're like-
nonsense and like fact checking us like in real time. Just getting fact checked by everyone. That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you guys need to. If you guys find a better host out there, send them my way because I don't know what I'm talking about.
We need to get Trevor on here.
Trevor was on last week.
Trevor?
Trevor. Yeah.
Dude, for some reason, I was thinking, and I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, Thehal. How do you pronounce?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce his last
I
name.
automatically
I didn't know how to
thought,
pronounce
"Man, you
Trevor's
got
last name
Trevor on
either.
here?" Dang. I got to get a grip.
Yeah, it's
That's
all
so
good.
sick. I want to watch that.
Yeah, I was really hyped. I was like so stoked after
Yeah.
last week's episode. I was like, dude,
Dude,
this is it's after last week, I was like, yes, bro, this is freaking
Yeah.
awesome. I'm
That's
like
cool.
so stoked on this project and
That's
yeah,
cool.
thanks for coming on last week, Trevor. That was
Yeah.
it was a really good time.
Dude.
I hope you enjoyed it too.
That's sick. Yeah, Trevor, I think he knows this, but love Trevor. I mean, I love everybody, but I feel like he's one of my dudes. I don't see him all the time or talk to him that much, but we're like this. Anyway, that's rad. So, yeah, what's next?
So yeah, free will stuff. Just wrap it up with that kind of chapter.
Oh,
Nothing
yeah.
really ever kind of came to fruition. Just kind of you
Not-
got the tattoo, and then,
yeah, that
nothing
was
else
right
ever
out of the
happened.
bat. I'm gonna grab a mint.
Go ahead.
So yeah, it was kind of short-lived. I think what was cool though is Jeremy Frankovich was on Free Will, by the way,
Oh yes,
and he got a
yes.
pro model, and we were super psyched on that.
I didn't ever remember the pro model.
Yeah, it was a terrible graphic. Jeremy, if you're watching this, it was just like a blank deck almost with like a little. I don't know who did it, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but that's beside the point. And I'm picking at Fuzz if he's watching this or anybody that had anything to do with it. But the bottom line was though that we gave him, or not we, 303 gave him a pro model. I thought it was so well deserved
Uh-huh.
because yeah, Jeremy's the best.
Yeah, Jeremy was ripping back then.
Yeah. And he was kind of reminding me of like a classic no coast powerhouse.
Just straight up,
Yeah.
God, I'm such a bad guy.
I
Oh,
put him in like a 4-wheel drive mode. Just dude that just
Sheffy.
yeah, very chefy.
That's what oh my God, I'm like, dude, you're gonna forget Sheffy. Like,
Whatever. You're like, if I
who
had
am
a
I
brain
talking
fart.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of reminded me of that Sean Chevy with the big afro, just
Yeah.
skating super fast, super hard.
Well, I always loved just like a clip.
Maldonado, bro. Oh
Yeah.
boy, Trevor says Mike Maldonado.
Yep. But he had like you that's a dude where you could just watch him push.
Yeah.
And you get like hair your hairs on the back of your neck would stand up because he'd had like these his shoulders
Yeah,
like
just
elbows
like
would come up and
it's like
just like
scary, like he's just gonna like a
Yeah.
linebacker, like coming off the
Exactly.
rail.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's such a good dude, man.
Yeah,
I'm stoked he had his shop and did everything he did. And I haven't talked to him in a while, but he seems like he's doing some the rad stuff with the trains.
Trains, right?
Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah. Very cool. Very cool, dude.
yeah. And then so we're getting towards kind of about 2003,
Yeah, it was. I think
2004. It's like
I think-
Fever. It was 2002 maybe.
yeah, maybe 2002 for Fever, and then Burning Daylight came out I think in 2004.
2004. Yeah, it was the year I graduated.
And then I don't it's all a blur after that. No,
Yeah.
I think I was it's funny. That was the first video that I really can't believe I'm taking myself as seriously, but whatever. I actually struggled I think I didn't get a clip for that video for like a year and I was going out nonstop.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I just
You didn't get anything that you liked, or couldn't make any clips.
I don't think I got anything at all because I'm pretty particular about if I do go out and I wish I was different, but if I go out to film something, I have something specific in mind. I don't just session like a rail or something. I'm like, I'm gonna try this one trick. And like I said, believe me, I don't love that. But I don't think I got anything because I had such a vision for exactly what I wanted. I kept having these failure missions over and over and over, and I was like, almost to the point where I was like, just forget it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm done. This is not fun anymore. And then I think that was kind of right around the time Mexi Thomas came into the picture
Oh, okay.
and saved my day.
And then came in,
Yeah.
brought just the right element,
Yeah, he's
the
like,
right
I got you.
ingredients.
I was like, I needed this.
Yeah,
So things started to click, but yeah, I remember it. In the past, I'd filmed things before, and they were like, "This is fun. We just went out and got 3 clips," and I'm like, "I don't get 3 clips in a year."
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And then, but that was a really humbling realization. I think I was trying to step it up too a bit and be more thoughtful about what I wanted to film,
More deliberate.
and it made it more challenging. And then I kind of took that within everything else that I did after that. Not that it's worth much, but just knowing that like you're gonna really appreciate something if it's that much of a struggle, you know.
Definitely.
And then I got to the head space too, where you're like, maybe you shouldn't be doing this if it's that difficult, you know. And you battle that, and then your passion for what you want to do or what you like to do overrides any lack of talent, and here you go,
Yeah,
workhorse syndrome.
yeah. But that's great though. I mean, like I said, there are dudes that do that and they stick around, and there are dudes that don't do that, and then you're like, we're talking about them and wondering where they're at. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so that you've had this career, right, of skateboarding
Yeah,
that's been, it's lasted such a long time, and it's like awesome. Like I said, such an important person in the community, and
oh, thank you, man.
yeah, just want to keep reiterating that
Yeah, that's right.
it's great.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah. And so then yeah, Advocates done 2004. What was after that? You were still writing for Brothers until
Yeah.
till the end of
Yeah.
that shop, right?
Yeah,
And they closed
Yeah.
what, 2008, 2010,
I want to say around
2007?
maybe 10ish because they put out what was the last video they did? I want to say it was dude, forgive me. Um, what was it? There was okay, so there was Louder Than Words. There was Colorado. There was what was after Colorado?
Roll
In Color.
in color.
And then there was this is the one I can't think of it. This was their last video because Murphy had last part. What was it called? Dang it. Somebody help us out here, please. Stakes is High. Thank you. Stakes is High.
Okay.
So that was their last video. Evan, when did Stakes is High come out?
And then Evan
Please
has
and thanks.
Evan has a question too. It says, what skate tricks from early 2000s was the most fun to ride away from, most satisfying, scary, or rewarding? Like, you're talking about specific trips that were filmed, or just
Yeah.
tricks in general? Go ahead. Like, what about just like video clips that you got of that era that were just?
I think early 2000s maybe is when I stopped. It's funny because I didn't jump. I guess I jumped a lot, but I only had like a few tricks I could do compared to somebody that can, like a Julian that's got every flip trick down, everything.
Right, but that was a whole different
Yeah.
generation.
You're right. Thanks
Two
for making me
two
feel better.
like basically two or three whole generations.
Yeah.
Before that.
Yeah. I think I did love jumping and flipping down stuff. That line that I filmed with Mexi Thomas on that fake 2 and 3 block, I think you were there in that foundation area in Arvada. Remember? We stacked up they were basically
Oh, they were like piles of trash. They're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was over here on Colfax, right?
Oh no. The one that I'm talking about was I think Shardy filmed a line there too and a couple other people, but they were boards, pieces of 3/4 plywood,
yes.
and they were for foundation
over here
walls.
by
Dude, it
Stanger.
was just north.
just by Stanger's.
Yeah.
They had the apartments that they were building.
Yeah. But that was one of my favorite lines to film because the ground was so smooth.
Yes.
And I just felt like it was easy to just stomp what you were doing. And it wasn't high impact enough to where you couldn't jump down it forever.
Right.
And then I think maybe that I had like a little silly montage in my Burning Daylight part at Winona hips. And I did I think a handful of tricks over the hips. Those were really challenging for me, but I got like kind of obsessed with I got one and then I wanted another to mirror it and blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
And that was pretty satisfying. And then also, this was in another video. I think this was in color part, but switch front 270 over Winona hip felt really good.
I remember that.
Yeah, because I don't do a lot of switch stuff, so that
Right.
stoked me out. And I did it on Greg Harbor's board because I broke mine.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, a little bit of trivia, I guess. So, did we get anything from Evan?
It says, easy to hate on yourself, but what are you stoked on and happy about the clip?
What clip?
What clip, he says.
We'll wait for him to answer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyhow, but yeah, I think things like that, and just trying to differentiate or skate a little bit different, maybe, was stimulating and I guess able to kind of continue to be stoked, if that makes any sense. So, I do, and it was an ender, but last trick in my Burning Daylight part was a 3 flip down this Big 10 stair in Brazil.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And it was rad because it took less than 10 tries.
That's so sick.
And I think I was stoked because there was a crowd of people watching. And we went to the beach the day before, and I got so sunburned, like all over my legs.
Worst
and I was
feeling.
like, the ground there was super rough, and I was like, please don't fall, just don't fall.
Worst
And
feeling.
yeah,
dude. Sunburn sucks.
Came up pretty quick and knocked it out. I was like, whew. Which was funny because that was one of the first things I filmed for that part. And then the rest was, you fill in everything in and blah, blah, blah. But it was cool to get what turned out to be your ender.
Right
as
off
your
the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that it fizzled necessarily, but it just worked out that way.
Yeah.
So,
I definitely remember that.
yeah. Anyway.
And so kind of getting up at the end of Brothers, and then so I have a question. Like you said, after that Tampa kind of experience, you kind of lost the ambition of kind of going all the way with skateboarding, but
Yeah.
you were still getting kind of sponsors. You were skated for like
Yeah.
Decline. Like, were you sending your videos, like sponsor me tapes out, or were people just finding out about you and wanting to back you? Or
I think it was mostly like rep hookup stuff.
Okay.
There was nothing that I don't think I sent any footage out. And at that point too, this is silly, but this was my own perspective on it. I knew because I knew I wasn't gonna make anything out of skateboarding. I didn't want to send somebody a sponsor me tape and have them see all my footage.
Oh, okay.
And if that's weird, whatever. But I would rather. I felt like I my biggest strength, and this isn't even a strength, but was a video part. Not even like a here's 1 minute of raw footage. I'm gonna blow your mind because I was not blowing anybody's mind. My stuff was best put in like an artsy form to a song that you probably end up rolling your eyes at, and it just was what it was. And I knew that already, but I still love skating so much and filming that I knew I was going to do it for the love of it or fun
Hmm.
of it. So that's kind of the direction I went with it to
Right.
answer your question.
Right. But
So
you did get hooked. You skated for Decline. Did you
yeah,
skate for 88 too?
yeah.
And then what other kind of bigger sponsors did you end up having through the years?
I think just mostly shoe sponsored. It was always like Rep Flow, but Walt that did when he used to do audio. Did you ever meet
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Walter?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's rad.
He just recently moved to like Montana,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, which is sad, but people move away.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, so I did audio, and then Chad Lewis hooked me up with Lakai for several years, and which was awesome. But I got to the point where I even told him, I was like, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I was like, dude, give somebody else. If you have a budget for shoes, give the shoes to. There's so many kids that are ripping, and I'm just like this. Whatever. I still love skating, but I'm not doing it at that level, and I don't think it's the wisest marketing decision for
Hmm.
your company.
That's interesting.
So anyway, I'm like, and I also am a grown ass man. I have a job, and I'll go pick up a pair of Lakais at 303 or
Right.
wherever. So
Yeah. That's sick though. I mean,
yeah, no, and I appreciate it, and it's cool that people were even down to be supportive and want to do that. And sometimes I had to step back and realize that instead of being like, no, stop it, and then make them feel stupid. And you're like, that's not cool either.
right.
But yeah, I've had a bad habit of doing that over the years. So
Uh,
anyway,
Evan says he wants to talk about skating Civic by yourself and 360 flipping it in more than one video part.
that's rad. Thank you, Evan. I did three flip it in the video, and we didn't even talk about it. Divided, and so I
Uh-huh.
was on totally bored. But Ryan Millard had a full part's worth of footage of mine,
Hmm.
and we didn't have anything to do with it, so he gave me a part in that video, which
Oh,
is
that was
cool.
his first 303 video, right?
That was the first 303 video. Divided, yeah,
So here you are on getting full parts in shops you don't skate for.
yeah. It was kind of weird. It was cool. I was stoked, but yeah. So I three flipped that. I three flipped Civic on Ryan Millard's board because I broke mine.
Hmm.
Speaking of other people's boards, and it was filmed fish, and yeah, it was. I was stoked at the time, and then I think I don't know, like 3 or 4 years later, I used to live close to downtown, and I would skate to my job. That was the Hornet Restaurant on First and Broadway.
Okay, okay.
This is probably only a handful of times, but this is like probably 2003. On my way to work, I would go to Civic. I remember I had the Kenny Anderson audios, the white
Okay.
ones.
Oh, you know what? You know what?
Didn't we ever talk about this?
No, no, no. You spray painted them.
I did. Painted them black except for the soles after I had them for a while.
Right.
But I tried to skate them as is, and I
Uh-huh.
couldn't stand being in white shoes.
Right.
Anyway,
You ended up giving me those shoes.
I did?
Yeah, I ended up getting
Yes.
those shoes and skating those until like the sole, my big toe
Dude,
wore through the
that's
sole.
awesome.
Yeah, so
So
yeah,
sick.
those were one of my favorite shoes. I'm like, yeah, Shad gave me these. I'm like,
That's so rad.
it's like, yeah, he spray painted them. He didn't like it anymore. He gave them to me.
That's so sick.
And like you're just trying to find anything, any kind of clout you could chase at that time. And you're like, yeah, my friend Shad, he gave me these shoes.
That's awesome.
It's
So
like feeling
sick.
so good about myself.
That's rad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had those shoes, and I would go skate Civic on the way to work, and I would try to do like 3 or 4 tricks down it, including a kickflip, before I would go to work. And in hindsight, I'm like, what was I thinking? But I was kind of in that mode at the point where I was jumping down stuff so much, and it felt good
Hmm.
that it was rad to go do. So I think that's what Evan was maybe referring to. And then the second three flip was in Retina as an ender, and I think Sweets heel flipped it before me.
Okay.
And then I
Yeah,
backed
then you
him up
backed
with
him
the three
up.
flip.
Right.
And I remember just wanting to three flip it because we were there, and it just felt good, and I didn't really think anything was gonna come of it. But the
Mm-hmm.
footage was Mike Gilbert filmed at
Like
long
from
lens.
high
Yeah, and
up.
it actually came out really rad. I did this like it wasn't intentional, but I like threw my
Yeah,
hands up, and I was like, oh, I look so
it looked
cocky, but I was
so
just
sick,
I was
bro. It looked
stoked.
so good. Cause you're like get Wheats back and just
Yeah, I
and
think
I'm like, yes,
I was
dude.
celebrating that more than me landing my trick, but it maybe it's just my own insecurity, but I remember watching it, I'm like, dude, I look like a cocky
No,
because I
dude.
hate the self like
No, I loved it
yeah,
when I was a kid. I'm like, yes, dude, that
that's
was
cool.
so sick. Cause they did the fast forward, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah, that was a rad session. So that was just kind of like came about and then the footage worked out to, to be used. So
yeah, that was awesome. I
I
was
also feel
totally
like
down
the
with
my
it.
retina part was missing a lot of solid tricks and I wish I could have kind of stepped it up throughout the process of filming it. But that was one of those era or like when it was you didn't even stress. You're like, oh, we're gonna
Hmm.
go out and film and we got this instead of really challenging yourself.
Right.
So anyway, um, but yeah, that was a fun part though, and it was kind of like a, I guess, um, I'm trying to think of the right term. Basically, going from partying to sober to the retina part was kind of a resurrection of me being less of a pile
Right.
in a weird way.
Chris says heartbreaker, bro, and that I remember that dude. I loved that part too because of that song.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
oh, this
awesome.
is so sick.
Well, thank
I was
you.
loving that,
That's rad.
and yeah. So the retina was sick. Okay, where are we at? We're still going into the.
So I think we kind of, and sorry to
No, 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 no.
interrupt
You're
you.
good. You're good.
So we talked about Burning Daylight, and then after Burning Daylight was Colorado, which
Hmm.
I was done filming, like so over filming
Uh-huh.
after Burning Daylight, and then I don't know what happened. And I don't, um, it sucks to talk about a video like you're the only one in it. I get guilty of that sometimes in a negative way, but that part I really wasn't 100% happy with and I picked a terrible song, but I started getting serious about it towards like the last few months and got some clips that I was proud of. But this is kind of a funny story. That was a really Micah Hollinger BU. Have you ever seen BU, the video BU? Travis Adams.
No,
You're
I
not
haven't.
probably watching this, but shout out. He's he lives in Finland now. Such a rad dude, but he made this video called BU. Micah has a full part in it and he skates to a metric song and it's so
Oh
steezy.
wait, sorry, my brain just
You're good,
died. What
dude,
did you say
because
that last part again?
the BU or metric.
The metric.
Yeah, so
Who skated to that in what video?
Micah Hollinger.
Michael Hollinger skated into the
Yeah,
BU video.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we'll nerd out later, but this song and this part is so steezy, and I feel like he's got a bunch of ripping in there, but he's got some creative tricks
Mm-hmm.
that really inspired me.
Micah
And I
tricks.
kind of tried to like feed off of them, but
Uh
mine were whack.
huh.
It was like a super poor man's Micah.
Uh huh.
But whatever, it is what it is.
Right.
And that's cool though, especially to be inspired by your
Yeah.
friend.
How do you
Yeah.
not get inspired by Micah in
Yeah,
that?
I know, right?
I, no, I feel like during that era was like the Micah era, dude. Because Micah was, like I said, he was one of those dudes that
Yeah.
should have been pro,
Yeah.
absolutely killing everybody else in that whole era.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, Micah is better than like a lot of these dudes I'm watching, waiting for these video parts to come
Yeah.
out. And I
Yeah.
would much rather watch Micah skate than a lot of these dudes that are getting
Right. The shine.
big hookups in the shine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I hear you. But yeah, he had that part come out and it's funny because it's not whatever. I thought the part was so rad, but it's really spoke to me and I was like, I kind of want to make a part is that's kind of like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of what my Colorado part in general was driven from, and I was already over it and trying to kind of everybody was like, dude, just come out and skate and try to
Mm-hmm.
squeeze something out, and still filming with Josh a
Mm-hmm.
little bit here and there, and whatever it is, what it is, but yeah, that's kind of what drove it, and even the song I picked was inspired by his as a female vocalist and
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. And
Mm-hmm.
in hindsight, if I ever hear that song again, I'll throw up. But
But I mean,
that's just
you could own that too, because I feel like that Pat Benatar song. I don't remember anybody singing to a female
yeah,
vocal
that's a
part
little more
skating
of a
to it.
yeah, maybe a little more enduring classic song. But I've made some bad song choices.
Really, what do you regret?
Burning Daylight, Scorpion song is a little bit obnoxious. like if you maybe it's from my perspective, but I think I could have gone with something a little more enduring. But that's
I think it ripped. Like,
thanks. I'll
yeah.
pay you later for that fucking
Just
rips.
slip it under the
Yeah,
table.
here you go. But yeah, things like that. That's I think what was it? In Color even was pushing it a little bit. Deep Purple song that I really liked at the time that could be a little much. I always try to pick things that would enhance the energy a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes I think that can backfire. Or you just, I don't know. And once again, to even, I think it's important to put your best foot forward in whatever you do, but also at the end of the day, sitting here talking about it just reminds me of, it's like, I don't know, don't take yourself too seriously, please. This is
Right.
just like a
It's a
little wooden toy,
yeah,
and we like to
totally,
ride it, and that's
totally.
it.
It's so weird though, because I feel like skateboarding skateboarding culture is so weird, bro.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
so
it's
weird.
cultish,
It's very cultish, bro. It's so clicky. It's totally jockish. Like
Yeah.
it's super jockish, bro. And
I
we're
know.
like, oh, we're not
We're
like
not like
we're not
that.
like that, but we're
Yeah.
worse, bro.
Yeah.
We're worse. Like super clicky, super fickle. Like the most fickle people you will
Right.
ever meet.
Oh, it's toe dragged.
uh Anything, dude. Like I don't like the color of his shoe
Yeah, yeah.
laces,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you know what I mean, just the most petty, like
Yeah.
stupid stuff. And before I opened this arcade, I'm like, I was entrepreneurial, everything like that, and I was like, thought about like, dude, having a skate shop would be so sick. And then I thought about it for like 5 more minutes, and I'm like, that sounds like the worst,
Yeah.
the worst possible thing, dude. Because you got to think, like, we're all different sizes. Everyone has their own little freaking weird idea
Mm-hmm.
about what they want in skateboarding.
Yeah.
You have to, I don't know how they do it. Like, you have to have every single
Yeah.
product,
Right.
because there's going to be someone that's skating the most specific
Right. And then you're not gonna
thing,
have that dude's thing, and he's
and then
gonna
he's gonna
go.
go on to the
Yeah.
zoomies or
Right.
whatever. And so I'm like, dude, that sounds freaking like a nightmare.
Yeah.
But
I think that's also too where shops that have been around forever have to learn from that, and either they fall apart or dismantle, or they learn from it and they can grow.
right.
But it's a very fine line.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, a skateboard shop alone is like, you better be doing it because you love it,
Yeah,
because it's not necessarily the most lucrative business
definitely not.
ever. Haha.
No,
Yeah.
it's a miracle that core shops even exist
Yeah,
still.
it really is.
In my mind, it's such a rough, such a harsh industry, dude.
Yeah,
For
I
for
agree.
everyone involved, like there's just there's not enough room. There's not enough room for everyone that wants skateboarding to be their whole life.
Yeah,
There's not enough room,
yeah,
and it's opening up a little bit, but still,
yeah,
there's just not enough attention span to share with all the people that want it that
yeah.
bad.
No, I agree. And this is something I'll touch on real quick because we probably didn't even think of it, but along those lines, so I was got into skateboard
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing. I can't talk. A few years ago, I think middle of COVID or right after COVID, because of lunch break, we couldn't get boards made. It's like a 12-month delay.
Oh,
So I started getting into, and I'm bringing this up in conjunction with what you just said about shops and how they survive and whatnot, but or don't.
right.
But I learned real quick, and I already knew a lot about the industry, but just the labor that I was putting into making boards and whatnot at the time, I was like, this is like $1 an hour. Like,
Yeah.
and then what you're selling a board for to a shop,
Mm-hmm.
it's insane.
Yeah.
It's no wonder boards aren't 130, 150 bucks just for a deck.
Right.
I don't know how the industry still does it.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
either. It's
So,
been 40, 50, no, 30 years of the same prices,
yeah.
not increasing ever.
Well, I think this was the second board I bought, by the way, or third. It was at a bike shop in Tyler, Texas, and it was Jeff Kendall, Santa Cruz Jägermeister graphic,
Uh-huh.
and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. But I think I paid like 75 bucks for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't care. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, but yeah, I mean, and that was, dude, probably 35 years ago.
That's crazy.
Damn, I'm old.
Yeah, that's wild. I was like
You were in diapers.
making a shitty mess in my pants on the daily in those days.
Uh, That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, yeah, skate industry's just gnarly. And so
Yeah, it is.
it's beautiful though, because I mean, we all do it and we all have our different motivations and we all have our different approaches and stuff. And
Yeah,
that's what makes it so great is that
yeah,
we could all be ourselves and like it or not, take it or leave it. We're not gonna do it for anyone else really,
yeah,
ultimately.
yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. I think that's where I was too after the whole Tampa debacle, and just knowing I still love skateboarding and I like to film and make parts and blah blah blah, and that just kept going. It just almost took a lot of the pressure off too,
Hmm.
and not having to worry about trying to maybe do it on that kind of a level. So
And you were getting, I think I see, didn't you get like, I think I seen a couple clips or photos of, what was that, photo graffiti, or what was it in the Thrasher where they would have, you could send in your,
oh yeah,
what was it called?
I think it was photo graffiti.
I
Yeah.
think so, or something like that, or,
Yeah, there was a photo in there. I'm so glad you brought this up because it was a photo of an ollie down the Washington Park 13, I think,
hmm.
which by the way, people have killed that
Oh yeah,
since. But
it's done.
Jake Swelbo shot that,
Uh-huh.
and I want to mention he passed away very
Oh,
recently.
oh,
So
just in the last few days,
rest in
right?
peace, Jake. Yeah, I just found out about that.
Yeah,
So
that's
bummed to hear
terrible.
that. He was a good dude, and he did a lot for Colorado skating. He had a magazine called Swelbo,
Hmm.
and it was awesome. And yeah, so my heart goes out to him, and I know a lot of dudes around my age are
Bummed.
are feeling that, yeah, and bummed. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. But
And that's just something, the photo that he sent in.
yeah, he sent it in, and then I think there was, I gotta say this because it's almost hilarious. Photo in Trans World, shot by Shad Lambert, I believe. Maybe
Okay.
no, Keith Lazinski shot it, maybe. But it was a nollie heel down Civic 10, and it was perped. I was
Oh,
so drunk doing it. I kept catching them and landing and sticking,
uh-huh.
and I never rode away. But
Oh,
I think that entire article, T-Law had a front blunt on loading dock rail in there.
oh, I
Saba,
remember that.
Saba had a
The
front,
shopping cart, was it the back lip on the shopping cart?
maybe. Micah might have had one in there too, but it seemed like everybody's photo was perped except for Saba's. And we were like, what are you gonna
That's
do?
hilarious. I
Yeah.
remember that article. I remember that
Yeah.
vividly. I remember that. I almost remember exactly like Travis is wearing doing that front blunt
Yeah.
on the loading dock
Just
rail.
shot straight on. It was so
Hmm.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was so regular footed, Keith Herchart.
Yeah.
Or Heath Kirchart,
Yeah.
sorry, just dyslexia.
Keith
Keith Herchart.
Keith Herchart.
That's like me saying I always mispronounce
Oh
names on
man.
purpose.
Yeah, Keith Herchart. I don't remember if we got into that with Chris's interview. Me and Chris were at Denver Park one time, bro. And Heath Kirchart was there and he's going into like the bowl, which is the like rocket ship looking one with the stairs down it
Yeah.
on the south side by the southwest entrance, you know,
Yeah.
between the one on the right side, the bowl. And Heath is like just blasting, and he's like flying, dude, like 15 feet airs out of the big side of that into the mini ramp.
Yeah.
And dude, oh my god, Chris, I don't remember what he was doing, bro. He like got in there. Chris is laughing, bro. I don't remember what he did, dude, but he gets all in Heath Kirchart's business, bro, and almost just gets like smashed
Mashed.
down, bro. And it's like we're just like laughing so hard, bro. Like, dude, Heath Kirchart almost killed you, bro. Like,
That's
like how
amazing.
you just almost like rage like the scariest dude in the whole
Yeah.
world, bro.
I
And
could
he
just
just
see Chris rolling through. He's all,
yeah, yeah. He like picks up his board. He's like, "Sorry, Keith." Like,
that's awesome because you just said keep.
yeah, that's. I mean, that's what we were like. We were laughing at it later. I'm like, dude, you just don't know who that guy is, and you just like almost get destroyed by him. And it's like, "Sorry, Keith."
Yes.
That just reminded me of that story, but I don't think we
That's
talked
awesome.
about that, bro. I was laughing so.
That's
I was
so sick.
laughing so hard. He just like almost got destroyed by that man.
That's awesome.
So funny.
That's a good Kirchart story.
Yeah, yeah, the only one I have. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, Travis definitely was the
Yeah.
Colorado Keith Kirchart. Kierkegaard. But yeah, that was super sick. And then, so you're still Brothers is kind of gone, and then you're still skating. You're still filming. Like how many at this point you had like 5 or 6
I
parts?
don't know. Yeah. I mean, what do you want to count to? I mean, are we going to count everything? Are we
Might
going to
I,
count ones that I
I
think
think
don't
so.
suck?
I think if you put your tricks together into another project, that's not easy, dude. Even if you think it sucks, dude. Like,
Well, what do you mean, like a montagey thingy?
it,
I don't know if anybody needs to see that. Oh, God bless you.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you're pretty prolific, kind of like producing of skate footage, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
over the
thank you.
years, you've had to have an hour worth of parts at this point.
Maybe, I don't know. I think if we're gonna do that with somebody though, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards you, I think we should do it with Tyler Price. I think he's
Oh,
got the record,
of footage.
footage and parts and like caliber of skating where you would be like,
Oh
you
yeah,
might be looking at your watch after 20 minutes of my clips, dude. You're like,
yeah, yeah.
anyway, sorry to
Chris says
set me down.
he shot his board at Keith.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I remember you like grabbing your board and like trying to escape from him, like, but I don't know. My memory, like I said, I'm
Chris,
the worst person to be
Ma-
hosting this show.
Machio's story was way better than yours,
It was
even
all
if it was
it
made
was all
up.
made up. None of it happened.
That's
But
rad.
yeah, uh, yeah. So yeah, Tyler Price obviously like amazing. Like
Yeah.
I said, he was just another dude that is like, dude, you're getting not the love that you
Yeah.
deserve, and it just sucked. But
I think also, I talk to him about it sometimes when we're working. But he kind of got to a point where he realized he didn't necessarily want that or care. And then
that
maybe,
that'll help.
yeah, and
Like,
maybe just didn't have the confidence in himself at that time either. And
hmm
that's words out of his mouth.
hmm
And you could probably take him now and, if he wanted to, and he could do something. But he's in his own spot and it's rad and it's cool to see him grow into his own, regardless of that involving professional skateboarding or
right.
not.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's easy. I think it's easy to forget about that as when you are a skate rat. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. And
as opposed, oh, go ahead.
I feel like back to the same thing. It's like, do you really want to be a pro skater? Do you really want to own a skate shop? Do you really want to
Yeah, do you
own a
really want
board
to do
company?
this?
Do you really want to do you
Yeah,
really know what all of that is about? Like, I don't want to go to a spot and have pressure on me, and
right.
like
Yeah,
you have the immediate pressure of I need to land something. Then you have the sub pressure of like tomorrow I got to go do the same thing,
yeah.
and you're like I
It
got to go
never
to these,
ends.
yeah, I
Yeah,
got to go to these spots that I may or may not ever want to skate any
yeah,
at all, and you have deadlines and you have bosses and
yeah.
you have haters on slap forum,
Yeah,
and you
just
have,
crushing you.
you
Yeah.
you got to deal with all that. Like skateboarding just sounds, pro skateboarding, being in the skate industry honestly sounds
Yeah.
terrible. It's nothing. I can't imagine a single job in the industry where I would be like really, really. Maybe if I worked in the factory and I was
Right.
making
Yeah.
shoes or something, I could maybe be
That's a little
stoked on
different.
that. But
Yeah. Well, and on top of what you're saying, usually people are having to deal with all that while having a second or third job because it doesn't even
it
pay.
doesn't pay,
Yeah.
right?
So you're doing all this, you're putting up with all this, and you're still I got to go work a real job.
Hmm. Yeah, it
So
just sounds
it's
brutal.
yeah, it's tough. No.
Oh, Brandon popped in. He says he'll make a Shad montage. Yes, let's get it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you're gonna be internet famous again. You're just
I don't
getting,
know about that.
yeah, Brandon. Thanks for popping in, dude.
Yeah.
I was talking
Hi,
to him. I
Brandon.
was talking to Brandon last night.
Oh, sick.
I'm hoping that he can get on when if he makes it out in
Oh,
town.
that'd
That
be
would be
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, that dude is definitely needs to be on here.
Everyone wants the Shad montage, bro. But
Two
uh,
people.
yeah, that's everyone.
That's
That's
rad.
everybody. Yeah, Brandon. Good to see Brandon, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
miss that guy.
yeah,
Yeah, we used to skate. Me and Brandon used to. I think there was a summer where we were skating a lot together too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's rad. He's a full blown adult parent.
yeah, definitely. Everyone, not everyone, but it's cool to see some people grow up.
Yeah, like
Some people
well,
actually did grow up.
if you don't absolutely have to and you're happy, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love it
Yeah.
though, because that's what it just comes back to what we were saying. It's like the people that wanted to grow up, you did, they did, and the people that didn't haven't, and
Yeah.
we're still
Yeah.
just being ourselves, and it's freaking awesome. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree 100%. And yeah, ultimately doing what you want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
if, I never would have thought I would say that I um don't have to go skateboarding this week or this month or whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
got, I guess your priorities change as you get older,
Mm-hmm.
and it happens. It is
Yeah,
what it is.
but it's like though, the skateboarding's always there for you.
Oh, it
It's
is.
always there
Yep.
for you, and it's like doesn't judge you if you don't, if you ignore
Right.
it for
Yeah.
weeks or days or months or years. It's still there for you, and it's just like the best feeling to know
Yeah.
that your little skateboard's always got your back and is
Yeah.
will take you out of wherever shithole you dig yourself into. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And every I feel like everyone has that experience where your skateboard just dug you out of some terrible place that you were in,
Yeah.
you know, and
That's
it's done
rad.
that for me multiple times,
Yeah.
you know.
No, it's awesome.
And so it's a weird thing. There's nothing like it. There really isn't.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just a blast, dude. And like even stuff like this, it's like
Yeah.
we're not skateboarding. We're not even skating right now. It's just, but
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. It's just like you said, it's cultish, bro.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
we just wanna spread the good word of the skateboard to people, and
Yeah.
like even like Gravity's in chat, and just like he doesn't I think he skates a little bit, but he's like just listening,
Yeah. That's rad.
get an idea. Somebody that doesn't understand
Right. The old
the
like
intricacies.
every single in and out. Yeah. And
Hmm.
yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's inspiring to hear.
Yeah,
Because yeah, I mean that was part of my thing in general, and it, obviously um something that I struggle with anyway. But yeah, not succumbing to it, but being like, who's gonna possibly gonna want to watch this or have to listen to it,
hmm
you know? So it's cool to even see, somebody maybe that's not like your total love you, Evan, but like skate nerd to the max, being like, yeah, that's interesting.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah,
goes a long ways.
yeah,
So thank you guys.
yeah. Thank you guys, everyone in chat. This has been awesome that you guys have been so vocal in chat today. It's the contribution's been great. Really appreciating that.
Yeah, it's rad.
Another 100 bits.
Hell yeah,
Dang,
Dave.
Dave
Let's
Davis
go,
for
Dave. Pumping
president.
it out, bro.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, he's pumping it up for his episode.
That's right.
He's gotta get everyone hyped.
Oh, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Now I got to come up with $300 during Dave's interview.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
He's gonna pump it out too. Let's go. Keep us
So
alive.
sick, dude.
Yeah.
Rad.
So yeah, so skateboarding, you're getting older. Like when did you have your first kid?
Man, my daughter is going to be 13 in July, so she was born in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was probably 30. Wait a minute, man. What is the math on that? Going to be 44. So 32?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my son was born a couple years later. So,
And how did that affect like your skate life? Like just big impact or
no, because it was already really limited anyway, with doing my landscaping business.
oh,
So
okay.
I would just get out when I could. And you just get more, how should I say this? You just have to be selective with how you use your free time.
Definitely.
And if it's minimal, then you take it even more seriously. If you have a ton of free time all the time, you're
Mhm.
like, oh, I'll get to that later. And, so I've kind of been on that tip for several years, working full time and trying to be an adult. You squeeze something in. You don't just get to go skate all the time. So, if that kind of answers your question, it was more challenging having kids in the picture, but at the same time, I forces you to hyper focus, I
Mhm.
guess. And
Yeah.
also, with that being said too, I probably, one thing I have toned down on, and part of the reason I don't street skate really anymore, or try to go film, is because I feel like you know how time consuming it is. It's
Definitely.
insane.
Yeah.
You could go to a spot and get a trick in under 10 tries, and by the time you leave your house and come back home, it's still 2 hours.
Could be longer than that.
Yeah, it's usually 3 to 6, and then for me, 6 trips back.
Mm.
But my point is, I just started feeling really convicted and guilty about how much time I was not spending with my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I was out trying to get this little dinky 3 second clip for a
Mm-hmm.
part,
Mm-hmm.
and it really messed with me.
Uh,
So that's part of the reason maybe I've steered away from, yeah, like I said, just trying to film and things like that. I'm like,
right.
I could go spend 3 hours with my kids
Mm-hmm.
because they're gonna be grown up and before you know
In a
it,
flash.
just like
We're
that.
we're talking about things that happened 20, 30 years ago,
A
and
bit of a flash,
yeah,
exactly.
and it's like
Yeah,
it's great that you're making priorities. This is like that's what parents need to do, you know.
yeah.
And so that's great. That's great
Well,
too.
thank you.
And what are your kids into?
My daughter loves horses. So I got to get a horse for the farm.
Uh
We
huh.
don't really have room for that,
Uh
but
huh.
yeah, she's super into horses, which is rad. And I'm trying to nurture that. She does a program called Western Ears, so she can go ride twice a month down at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds. I'm pointing at it because it's right over there.
Right.
Anyway, so she's really into that. And then my son it's funny, he's super into sports, but he's also into dirt biking.
Mm-hmm.
I bought myself and the kids new dirt bikes this past summer just
Okay.
to kind of invest in some memory making.
Like motorcycles.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, full blown dirt bikes. So we go to the motocross track sometimes, like
Oh,
the
okay.
beginner, whatever,
All
and
right.
just have super. It's just fun. It's
Mm-hmm.
really cool to do together, and it's rad to see him rip around.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to actually get into motocross racing, so we're kind of working on that. But
Okay.
yeah, other than that, they're just yeah. He likes playing video games,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. But I'm just
You can't
kidding.
say that in here,
I'm
bro.
I'm just kidding.
uh,
But yeah, they're rad. They're good kids. So I'm very blessed.
yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. And then let's see. Um, yeah. So what are you lunch break? Let's talk about lunch break.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So you started that maybe six years ago.
Yeah, around there. And I did it with Micah. It was his idea actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so and it might be longer than that now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he really liked the idea of starting a company. He was staying out here at the time, and I thought he was gonna stick around. And he ended up moving away and broke my heart.
Right.
So I kind of just took over everything. But he did a lot of the graphics, and a lot of the concepts were birthed by him.
Mm.
So, and then I've always wanted to make a full-length video. I
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
be responsible for everything,
For
which,
producing it.
yeah, punch myself in the face for ever thinking that. No, the memory and the experience is good, but it was a lot of work,
Yeah.
a lot of sacrifices, and just very time consuming. So, but no, it was something and it's something that is obviously still around. I'd say it's kind of dormant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even on social media, so that means I'm also not on the lunch break, and I'm
Right.
like, I don't really care. And if somebody needs boards, I still have them or
Uh-huh.
whatever. But it's pretty dormant,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. But like I said, it was an excuse to make a video,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to accomplish that.
Well, that's sick though.
So
You've I was thinking about that I think yesterday. It's like I think I was laying down, I was thinking, take it or leave it, like it or not. You have an idea for something and you can bring it into reality and people can experience it. That's like completion. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I
And
hear
to
you.
have
Thank
an
you.
idea and bring something to completion, it's not an easy thing, especially
Yeah,
something as intricate as managing a board company and producing a skate video
yeah,
with all kinds of different people with that are all completely different and have different
yeah,
schedules and different priorities and different ideals and motivation and styles and
yeah,
everything as intricate as that to be able to bring something like that into reality it's remarkable. It's what life is all about
yeah,
is taking an idea out of your head and making it something that people can experience and enjoy. And it's just not many people are that way that can do that. And
yeah. I
it's
hear
amazing.
you.
It's amazing that you've done so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I guess I have obviously a lot of experience, like being around people like Tony, Melek that made his videos and any of the 303 videos, and understand the gist of it and the the blueprints and the groundwork. But yeah, getting out and doing most of it. And I don't get me wrong, I had help.
Of
My
course.
friend Evan helped film. Mark, William, a lot of people stepped up, but I'd say yeah, a lot of it was going out with all the dudes all the time, and managing that was a task that I knew I was aware of, but I didn't realize it was going to be as daunting as it was. And it's still, I shouldn't say daunting because it was a good experience.
Hmm.
It was just, it was a lot.
I feel like daunting is probably
Yeah.
an appropriate
Well, thank you.
word.
Try not to sound like a Debbie Downer.
No, no, no.
But
It
yeah,
just
there was a lot to it. And towards the end, you start getting worn out, and then you still have, but you have that light at the end of the tunnel. Like this is gonna, close to completion. So you push, but yeah, I don't think I have the capacity to ever do that, something like that again.
mhm.
And it's funny to talk about because you're like, dude, it's a local skateboard video, big whoop. But it was like you said, it was an idea, and we were able to make it happen and bring it to life, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can't really downplay the effect that kind of thing has on people that experience it, right? Because someone may look at you and be like, "Oh, Shad did all of that. Like, I could do some
Yeah,
X,
yeah,
Y, or Z
inspired.
other thing, you know."
Yeah,
And
that's
then maybe you
rad.
don't, maybe you're not doing it for that reason, but
Right, but
you don't know how your actions affect other people,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it's kind of crazy to me. Like I'm saying, it's like you've been so out there for so long, and so many people have consumed what you've produced. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Maybe you haven't seen any kind of direct result or reward from all of the work that you put into it, other than the solace of knowing that your actions made an impact on people
yeah,
around you. You know what I mean? In a positive way. And so I don't think that can be downplayed.
yeah.
You
No,
know
I
what I mean?
appreciate that. Yeah, no, I hear you. And whether it's me or anybody else, I think you're right. A lot of times that you can, you don't mean to, and it's not your intention, but if you can inspire somebody else and get somebody stoked to go do their own thing or just anything, it's rad.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, thank you for saying that.
Right. But it's like I said, it's not a easy thing. So you definitely you don't have to be proud, but you can be proud.
Yeah,
You maybe should be, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
that's awesome. You're like, could you just be a little? No, I hear you, and I appreciate you saying that.
yeah,
That's rad. Thank you.
yeah. And so it's kind of just on the back burner, or you plan on doing anything more with it, or you kind of just want to
I
send
don't
it out to
know.
pasture, or
I don't know at this point. It's not.
because I mean, you got a really sick team. Like you have a
Well,
lot of
thank
good
you. I
dudes
know I feel
on your
bad. They're
team.
like the best dudes, like people too, and I'm
Hmm.
like just not investing in them or the company. But I've been crystal clear with them
Right.
on my stance and
Yeah.
how I am with it or how I've felt. So they're all well aware and they're totally cool with it.
Right.
I'm
And
like,
they.
can I help you guys get a real sponsor? But no, we'll see. I don't know, man. I'm trying to just right now do what I feel like I need to do in life and what's important to me. And if that involves resurrecting anything in the in the future, that's not going anywhere.
Hmm.
And it's not like it's my paycheck by any
Right.
means.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's always there,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Things change. You know,
exactly.
things can always
Yep.
change.
Yeah. So
And so, yeah, like I said, you got a really good team, support system. I think that,
yeah, no,
you know,
I'm very fortunate in that people and just in general have been so rad and kind and supportive and cool to me over the years. Like I can't thank anybody enough that's helped me out along the way. I feel like I'm very fortunate in that area, whether it's been, Boardroom when I moved out here, Ryan Millard, people that would just give me a chance, Tony, Melick, um, Mark, Spencer, just a lot of people that let me kind of jump on their coattails when they could have picked 20 other rippers.
hmm.
So,
But at the same time, people just don't go out of their way to help just randos either. So they,
I get what you're saying.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are like, people choose to associate who they choose to associate with for reason, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Barring a few exceptions.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Where like, dude, why is that guy hanging around? Like most
right.
people, if they're not bringing some kind of value or bringing something then people are, especially in skateboarding,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
So
that's a
it's
good
like
point.
people see what you're about, and they see your passion, they see your skill and your dedication, and
Yeah.
that's why you're still relevant. You know what I
Uh,
mean?
yeah,
Like
well, thank you.
even to this day.
Yeah,
And so
appreciate that.
people see that, and that's why
Yeah.
it's not just a coincidence. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's because you're the dude that people want to be around.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. Well, and it goes, I guess that with you saying that, it's still um definitely makes me appreciate all these opportunities that I've been given, no less. It means a lot to me.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, very fortunate,
Yeah,
very lucky.
yeah.
So,
But good dude though. Good dude. Good dudes
well, thank
deserve
you.
good things, and I feel like you produce a lot of good things. So
I appreciate that.
yeah.
I feel like you're producing a good thing.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. I'm trying my best.
Well,
Oh, people want to hear about you building spots, Bondo. Oh
oh
yeah, that's
man.
infamous, bro. That was kind of like a you and Josh thing too. I feel like.
Oh, he would help me with stuff. Yeah. I think I've always kind of been into that just for my like construction-y mentality.
Hmm.
Um, I think one of the first, not first, but a spot that, and I ain't gonna lie, you guys, I'm about to pee my pants. But
Oh yeah, you want to take a break?
can we?
Yeah, yeah. Take a break,
All
and
right,
then
be right back.
I'll talk with chat, and then I'll take a leak after you.
Cool. And then yeah, well, I got some spot building
Okay.
stories.
Yeah, right
All
on.
right,
So
be
if you
right
guys,
back.
Shad's gonna take a break, and then I'm gonna take a break. We're going on 3 hours here. This is our longest podcast so far. We are live, remind you guys. So sometimes we got to make a wee wee, and after 3 hours, that might happen. But yeah, chat. If you guys have any other questions, you could line up for when Shad gets back. We still got time to hang out. Oh yeah, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping that people enjoy these little podcasts, and it seem to be getting better every week. I'm really been really excited about the last few. Actually, every single one. I'm just kidding. Keep getting more excited about doing this. I feel like it's something that all these guys deserve to have their stories kind of just kind of immortalized, and there's such a big impact on us, and uh, they deserve definitely more than the industry has given them, and just at least deserve recognition and appreciation. And definitely thank you for everyone that tunes in live. People watch us on YouTube. If you people, Dave Davis throwing us bits and rating us and really helping pump up this little kind of community that's kind of growing with this podcast. And all suggestions and recommendations are welcome on improving or guests or anything like that. And Shad's gonna be here in a second. I want to take a break real quick and then talk to Shad for a minute because I'll be away.
Bye, Matt.
Bye.
I guess I could continue with a skate spot story or skate whatever DIY buildable spot story. Um, One of the first spots messed with years ago was, I don't know if you guys are familiar. There's that super tall bank up off 136th and Huron, I think. Ernie Torres ended up having the cover of a skateboarder, I think, doing a nose blunt slide on it. But a buddy of mine, Sean LaChance, went there and poured the concrete for that, and it was um, the bottom of the steep part of the bank where you land. There's like a probably 3 foot gap between the bank and the sidewalk, and it had to be filled in. Otherwise, it wasn't skatable. And I remember going there and just being super shook because we had like a full wheelbarrow full of concrete. And fortunately, it was next to the river, so you could get as much water as you wanted for your supply. And anyway, we poured that, but the whole time we were and it was in a remote area. I don't know what I was stressing out about, but um, that was a spot we made, and it was turned into like way more of a project than we expected. But it seemed like it got skated quite a bit, which was rad. And I remember I specifically built the spot because I wanted to do a backside tail slide on it, and I couldn't even get a clip on it at all. So I've done that a number of times. Um, think another spot up in the Thornton area is that bank it's almost like a elbow flat bar. I think that's been skated quite a bit. But yeah, I found this hip that was too mellow to do tricks over and felt like it needed a little extra. So I remember drawing on a piece of paper like the angle I thought it would be, and then I went home and welded a 10 foot by 10 foot flat bar with supports and then brought it back, and it just so happened to be the right angle. I got lucky. So we dug post holes and cemented it in, but that's been around for quite a while.
Wait, which one?
The one up, I think it's off of 100th in Colorado and Thornton. I'm sure you
It's
probably
still
seen.
there?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
sick.
so. But same thing. I remember making it kind of tall because I wanted it to be like street spot legit, and then rolling up to it and being like, man, I messed up. And then people have killed it though. I think Trevor Thealt just recently did like backtail varial flip out on her. So sorry if I'm wrong on the trick. That's what happens when you get old. I'll blame it on that. But I think it's been skated forever. Justin Greer did like nose grind, yank in or whatever.
Hmm.
It actually looks kind of cool and somewhat natural, which I was stoked on. That was
Right.
the whole point.
Yeah. Did you
So
also set the rail at the car wash gap up here on Ward? Or is that Josh?
that was
That
Josh.
was
Yeah, I
Josh.
didn't do that, but I was well aware.
Hmm.
So, and then I guess I've done just some other minor stuff for spot fixing, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
but some pretty elaborate Bondo work.
Really, my Bondo skills are bad.
Well, I guarantee if you did it like 3 or 4 more times, you
Well,
took 5 minutes out of your busy little schedule.
I actually kind of did start getting good at it because we had to do all the restoration for these
Okay.
cabinets. So I kind of got decent with the
Oh, nice.
Bondo restoring some of these cabinets. So it turned out pretty good. But is in the streets, bro,
Well, I
it's a
think the
different story.
pressure's on.
Yeah.
And then if you got to know your mixture, and if the sun's out, and
Hmm.
I've had Bondo harden up instantly on a
Right.
hot day. You're
Just
like,
harden
dang it.
on your
Yeah,
palate, and you're just
yeah,
like
yeah.
crunching it all crispy on your
Yeah, totally. I've ruined some Bondo.
yeah,
I probably spent thousands of dollars on Bondo.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Real quick, one more spot story. What was the video? Dude, It's Always Sunny. Bucky Bucky O'Connell made it. 303 video. Have you seen it?
Which one?
It's Always Sunny in
No,
Colorado.
I've seen parts of it.
Okay. Anyway, I have at Winona, I do a ollie to 5-0 on this ledge and then immediately drop into the bank and land in the river or whatever.
Hmm.
But that ledge was not a ledge. I spent like $300 in Bondo
Oh no,
and made a
you made a
ledge. Yeah,
ledge out
because
of Bondo? That's
I thought it would be cool to
crazy.
like it was ridiculous, but that's the way my brain works.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I remember doing that and yeah, that was one of my biggest whatever Bondo-y projects. But Bondo grinds really good if you mix it right.
Uh-huh.
It's really hard.
Oh,
It
really?
doesn't necessarily have a long shelf life, but you can fill in ledges if you
Hmm.
want.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, this was like ice. I remember I was like,
Wow.
maybe I should have like sanded it with a lower grit. But yeah, speaking of spots, so I can't really think of anything else. But
Yeah. And Evan was asking, this is the first that you've heard of the show? Uh, yeah, so I think our first episode we had Chris Schwartz, then we had Ryan, Ryan Shearer, we
dude,
had
Ryan's sick.
we had who else do we have? We had
Trent.
Julian, Trent,
Dude, you did Julian too.
we did
Sick.
Julian, Trent, Mike Riley, we did Trevor, we did Chris Schwartz was the first one, yeah. Triza, we did Troy, and am I forgetting somebody? I have to be. I'm forgetting somebody.
Figure it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I forgot someone. So whoever you are, I forgot. I'm really sorry. Yeah. So far this is episode 8. I wanted to chat on episode 1, but just hadn't worked out. We got Chris on there. Actually, I'm really stoked Chris was episode 1
Yeah,
because that
it's a
was
good first
it
episode.
was kind of nerve-wracking and I didn't know what to do, and I still kind of am just winging it.
You're doing great.
Oh, thank you.
As I'm over here.
Yeah, so yeah, glad you found us. Keep checking us out. Follow the Channel 3 Instagram. That's where I'm gonna be posting where who's coming on. I got to get better at giving more notice. I think I posted the notice of this coming on maybe 10 minutes before we came on
Well,
live,
that's
which
whatever.
is terrible. But usually we're aiming for Mondays um, to get guests on, usually in the evening or late afternoon. This is an early show for Shad, so he could take care of his business after this.
And thank you for that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
of
it.
course. Like I said, I'm willing to do just about anything to get people on the show.
Yeah,
So
rad.
whatever I can do to make it work, I'm gonna try my best to get people that we all want to hear your stories. So yeah, just a little bit of background for you, Evan. Definitely keep posted because I want to try and get some more cool people on here. And yeah, so far I've been really happy with people have been really like Trevor last week. He hits me up. He's like, "When am I gonna come on?" I'm like, "Just come
Yes,
over Monday,
dude.
dude." And I'm like, "Thank you for reaching out to me. Make it easy for
Yeah.
me,
Oh, that's
because I don't
awesome.
have to chase people down." Yeah, yeah. Please watch all the other episodes, dude. They're all rad. Riley's episode's super sick. Trevor's, like I said, was really stoking me. Chris'
That's
episode
awesome.
sick. Ryan's episode sick. Trent's episode's good. They're all good.
Yeah, I
Like
wanna. Yeah,
I'm really excited. Like it's been beyond my expectations so far,
super
and
cool,
we're just
man.
kind of kicking it off. So there's a lot of people to talk to still.
Yeah, rad.
And I don't mean to just yabber on, but
No, no,
Evan
no.
did mention that.
Yeah, you're good.
Says Evan wants to talk about you skating the trees in the snow,
All right, we'll be quick or whatever.
or will not be quick.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just have a interest and obsession with skating things that aren't supposed to be skated. I think that goes along any kind of street spot. If you, I mean, a
That's
ledge,
street skateboarding.
yeah, a ledge is a little more like you wax it and you clear coat it if it's not going to go and you get it to work. But I think just messing around with weird stuff is fun. So, yeah, kind of did that with the lunch break video. Um, and then the snow thing was more of like a, I mean, it's, yeah, I guess like the concept was almost like movie magic, even though it was all real. If that makes any sense. Like, obviously, I assume you're referring to the flat bar line, Evan, that you filmed, by the way. Thank you. But, yeah, I landed on painted white wood, and I made sure we turned the exposure up so it just looks like you're riding on snow. So it's kind of fun to mess around with. And if that's a boring, short answer, then sorry. But yeah, and then the tree stuff, whatever. We got weird, but maybe just check the video out. Is that a plug? Shameless
No,
plug?
you should plug everything. I'm trying to get people plugging
Yeah.
on this show.
Well, cotton candy lunch break
Yeah, Cotton
skateboarding
Candy
video.
lunch break. Check it out.
Yeah.
So, how did you feel when they put you in the on the Thrasher
I
with that video?
was really pleasantly surprised, honestly. For one, just I mean, I know everybody worked really hard on it, but the caliber of skateboarding today that's out there is insane. So the
Hmm.
fact that they even gave us that platform at all was super cool. And then we didn't get any rights to the music, and I refused to compromise on the music.
Hmm.
So I knew that that could potentially stop it. But I
Hmm.
guess there's a difference between something going on the website and the YouTube channel.
Okay.
So I didn't care about that. Like
Uh-huh.
if it even got on the website, that was fine. So
Right.
yeah, very stoked. Probably more stoked for like the other dudes because I knew they were really stoked.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was really awesome. My brother William did a lot of legwork on that, and my friend Adam Crew to help make that happen. They
Okay.
have connections
Pulling
there.
strings.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
they were on top of it, which was rad because
Yeah, it
I
was
was a little
definitely sick.
well, thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I was
that.
watching it. I was actually watching it here, and I was getting kind of choked up, like
Oh,
watching your
dang.
video on Thrasher.
Well,
I was
thanks,
like
man.
really proud of you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, dude. Appreciate that. Now I'm gonna cry.
Oh. Yeah, it was great to see. Like I've just like after we were talking about all this, is how far you come, and you finally like get a little bit of
Yeah.
recognition at the end. It's like Rudy, you know what I mean? You know
That's
what I'm saying? You get
awesome.
that
Yeah.
last sack at the end of the game, and you're like,
That's so sick, dude.
yes,
That was my sack.
yeah. It reminded me of that.
That's sick. Well, I just hope people enjoyed it, and even if it's like, I always say this, it's kind of funny, but I'm like, dude, if even a dozen people out there were stoked, that's all I care about.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And a lot of more than a dozen people saw that. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. Oh, that's rad.
So that's super sick. And
Yeah,
then
thank you.
yeah, so it's wintertime. We get some snow spots going, and all the snow's melting. That'll be great. We'll probably come back Saturday or something like that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like the snow thing. I always kind of had the idea too of like having a street spot and just like setting up, making like a pyramid with the snow and just putting some
yeah,
plywood
yeah,
down and kind of. This is such a Colorado thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
there are only a handful of spots. Well, there's more than that, but I feel like if it's snowing in like New York or Minnesota or Maine or
like it's just
New
shut
Jersey,
down
yeah,
time.
it's like,
Yeah,
dude, we're gonna go get drunk or we're gonna
yeah,
go play video
not
games or
skate.
whatever.
Yeah,
But here it's like one of those places where it's like, dude, there could be snow on the ground, but it could be totally
yeah,
nice to skate. But
yeah,
the the snow melting is gonna make a little stream where you could like
right.
it's a new gap or water gap just on the ground or
Yeah.
snow banks. You could do a lot more than I think people kind of utilize in
Yeah.
here. So I think that's cool that you did that.
Oh,
I always
thank
thought
you.
about it when I was younger of doing that, but you kind of kind of
I
did it.
stole your
You
idea,
stole my
man.
idea. It's all right. It's all right. Someone had to do it. I was not going to.
That's all right. I know I had some other ideas, but it's hard not to blow something out too, where you're like, oh, okay, one clip or two clips is rad. I mean, not 17
Yeah,
clips.
you don't
When it
want to do
starts
the
to
whole.
get like lose its luster.
You get the whole
Right. You're
Deca
like,
video
yeah,
in the
you're like, no,
warehouse.
no,
You're
no.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna take this all the way, which I absolutely loved that video as a kid.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite videos. But I just like watching people do flip tricks really, and
Yeah.
it's kind of my thing. I'm like, oh, that's a video where they do every single flip trick, and I get to see that. So,
That's rad.
but
Yeah. I'm a flip trick watcher lover guy myself.
yeah, yeah, I just love flip.
Proper flip
I just
tricks.
love flip tricks.
That's all, man.
Yeah, you don't have to do them. You don't have to do them anywhere. It's just as long as I could see them.
Just at Seacrest. It's
Yeah,
cool.
anywhere is fine. Anywhere is fine.
That's
But yeah,
rad.
I'm really into that. But yeah, let's talk about your kickflip, Shad.
Oh,
Let's talk about your kickflip, buddy.
all right.
What's
And
up
then
with
I'll
that?
probably get out of here because I feel bad.
No, for what?
I hate my kickflip, but I've heard this before. Um, it's weird. I've decided a lot of my flip tricks are weird, and I've wondered if it's just like your physical makeup. Because you see like Nate Jones do a kickflip or a frontside flip or Reynolds, and you're like, that's how I want to do it.
Mhm.
But it just doesn't work.
Right.
So I think I've struggled with, I call it flob. Like
Uh-huh.
my flat ground kickflips are all right. Like I can flick them okay.
Uh-huh.
They're not Mike Marks flicked,
Mhm.
but they like the foot goes out. But when I do them down stuff, they get weird. It's almost like turns into this survival mode. And I know I've had some weird looking kickflips over the years.
I can't remember. There's one that stands out to me that
I'll
is
tell
just,
you, you're probably retina
I think
down a
so.
9 stair,
Where
and
you're
it's like looks like a judo or not a. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm talking over you because I think that's what you're talking about. And I absolutely despise it, but I've heard about it so much.
yeah.
But oh, a frigid air kickflip almost where the foot just like
It's just it's your back foot, bro. It's the back foot that you're.
I think the back foot comes out like this.
Yes, dude.
Man, my
And
skate shoes.
it looks so good, bro, to me. It's like
Really?
there's never been one ever done like that, and just it's like you flick it out, and then it like your back foot comes out all crazy and like catches it like kind of late, and I don't know, just like one of my favorite clips. Josh always told me that you have his favorite kick flips, bro.
Dang.
Did he ever tell you that?
I don't know, but that's awfully nice, and he's seen a lot of good kickflips.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, Shad's kickflips are my favorite. He told me that like explicitly one day
Dang,
out
that's crazy.
unprompted. It was like, Shad has the best kickflips.
That's so crazy and nice. I thought he had better taste than that. But
No, I feel like it's super unique and they look really good.
oh, thank
They
you.
look
man.
really good. And
Appreciate that.
I think it was the one in Retina where he
He's
just like
super, yeah, weird.
like
but,
big one, a big one down, big set, and
Yeah.
it's I thought it looked sick,
well,
but
thank
definitely
you.
I had to let you know that Josh told me that like
Aw,
explicitly.
That means a lot. That's
Yeah,
rad.
yeah, he says Josh's kickflips are the best,
Oh,
or
that's sick.
Shad's kickflips are the
Yeah.
best.
Well, thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know it's funny. It's like the most coveted trick for me
Mm-hmm.
that I've probably been the least happy with. And when I see people just rifle their kick flips off all buttery and no effort, I feel like it's the least consistent. I could nollie flip all day
Mm-hmm.
and not miss one, and then do like 7 out of 10 kick flips. I think we've had this conversation
Oh,
even at a spot, dude. We were doing kick flips, and we were both like, it was a kickflip clinic,
uh-huh.
and we'd miss like 3 out of 5, and we're
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh," and then we'd get one super good one,
Yeah.
and then we're like, why can't we just do that every time?
I
And I
know.
think it was something that you and I totally broke down over, if I
Yeah.
remember right, at that schoolyard.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that. What was it? What's the name of that play?
Yeah, it's got the bump, like the
The bump
skinny
to
bump to
bump to.
bar.
No, yeah, the skinny bumped bar. And it's
Yep.
got Merrill. Is that
Yeah,
it?
Merrill. Yep,
Merrill.
Merrill Middle School. The yeah, picnic tables.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
And
did the no slide.
no side big
Two.
spin.
Yeah, yeah,
No side big spin and the quick grind and
that's right. Yeah.
yeah, that was
But
fun.
anyway, yeah, that kickflip. That's like the epitome of my struggle with kickflips.
Yeah.
So I
I
guess
mean,
to hear that somebody likes them is shocking.
yeah. Well, Josh said
Okay, leave it at
that.
that.
Josh said it. I said it. Other people, I'm sure, like it too.
Oh,
But yeah, it's just super unique. It's pretty
well,
cool.
thank you, man.
And then what about like the switch frontside flip, bro? I remember that is like an old trick that I seen you doing in all those old videos,
Yeah,
like
it's
in
like a
divided in neophyte, like the nollie frontside flip and the well, I guess it's a backside flip
yeah.
now.
That one's a little trickier, but the switch frontside flips just work for me
Hmm.
really easily, and I think it's this is silly, but I think it's because I'm left-handed,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and so like any kickflip tricks, skating goofy footed or my normal,
Hmm.
like I don't feel like my front foot flick is strong or like honed in as it should be.
Hmm.
So my left foot, obviously being left-handed, I feel like I have that plenty of that flick.
Okay.
So like switch flips work fine and switch frontside flips. It's just always been one of those tricks in my head. It's kind of a cheater trick, and you come back around regular, like
Oh,
a
right,
switch
right, right,
180.
right.
So, yeah, they're fun, but I also, yeah, it's one of those like it's kind of a guilty pleasure when you
Uh-huh.
do it. You're like, I'd rather be doing a regular frontside flip, but once again,
But I mean, you've been doing that for a really long time.
yeah, I
Like,
guess so. I think I learned a lot of my flip tricks when I was about 15, probably 95% of them, and
Mhm.
had them from that point on. And then the progression kind of, I wouldn't say went downhill, but that's where I had everything, and I was doing a decent amount of jumping. And then it kind of morphed into other types of skating.
so you're in Texas learning
Yeah,
how to skate flat ground, doing
yeah.
flip tricks. Like, how are you getting that exposure? How are you like making these tricks up because
No,
are
I'd
you
seen
seeing
videos. Yeah. I had,
where are you getting those videos from?
well,
That
as
video
time
store?
time went on, I met friends and whatnot that skated, and they had videos, and I would I'd be able to see those, like, New Deal 5280, Celebrity Tropical Fish, the PAL video. What was another one? There was a GNS video that Markovich and Willie Santos had parts in. A1 Meets. But it was funny, these videos had probably been out for like 3 years by the time I got my hands on them. So I was learning pressure flips after they'd gone out of style, but had no idea, dude. And was so psyched. I
Yeah.
was like, pressure flips. And then go to like Dallas or something, and somebody's like, what are you doing? You're like, I know. But yeah, one of the last videos I watched, or got my hands on before I moved to Colorado, was Secondhand Smoke. And that video really opened my eyes up to like Jeremy Ray's opening line.
Hmm.
And
The
that
forever
flat
line.
ground kick flip is so boosted. And
Hmm.
then the tray flip, it made me really, and not that I pop my tricks well, but it made me focus on that instead of the worm burners. Like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, I did a kick flip. Who cares
Hmm.
how it looked or if it
Yeah.
popped?
That's funny.
So
Triza said the exact same thing. He's like, yeah, Jeremy Ray in the first line on there. He's like, after I saw that, I just needed to blast everything.
that's
I'm
so
like, okay,
sick. Dude,
that
I
makes
went
sense.
to, this is a quick story, but I was 15, and my friend, his name was Chris, but we called him Sprinkles. He was old enough to drive, so my parents let him and me take their car to Dallas to see a hookups demo.
Okay.
And it was Jeremy Klein, Dan Rogers, Willie Santos, and Jeff Rowley.
Oh shit.
And all they had to skate was a bench. This two-sided metal bench which is actually sick. Like if I was gonna skate something that looks pretty fun, and then a bank two banks with a refrigerator in the middle, and
Uh-huh.
Jeremy Klein was eating that up, of
Uh-huh.
course. But and then the van, they had the hookups van with the ledge on top. They
Okay.
skated that to end the demo.
Uh-huh.
But oh, and they had a chair on its side, like a regular, like a chair like that,
Uh-huh.
and they were doing flip tricks over it. And I had never seen anybody pop their tricks like that, and they
Mm-hmm.
were going super fast, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it, yeah, kind of opened the door for just realizing, A, you need to skate faster, and B, you need to smack your tail.
Yeah.
And I probably still couldn't. I might be able to kickflip that on its side, but yeah, Willie Santos, dude, backside flip, first try, front side flip, you name it.
That's crazy.
Jeff Rowley just doing nollie 360s over it, like the good way,
Right.
full cabs, whatever.
And I always remember that too, like watching the end and watching Willie Santos like freaking like what was he doing? Nollie like half cab heel over that little baby trash can or
Yeah.
whatever. And I was like,
Yeah, I think
How?
in a line even.
Yeah.
But yeah, the proper popping of flip tricks was when I remember seeing that just in real life too, and it was the only first demo I'd ever gone to, and it blew my mind. So anyway, speaking of flip tricks,
and so you're in Texas and you ended up finding other skate kids
yeah,
while you were
yeah,
there.
they were older than me, and they lived in the city of Tyler. But yeah, we developed a friendship, and they would even I'd pay them gas money, and they'd come pick me
Oh,
up.
that's sick.
You know, I was half an hour outside of town,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they were super cool with me because hopefully I was not a total little punk, and
Mm-hmm.
then maybe just feeding off each other's skate skills and
Right.
stuff. You know,
And so at that point, you're in a smaller town. You're not like super choosy about what skate kids you're gonna hang out with
no,
because
I didn't have
there
any like
wasn't anybody, right?
no kids. There were two kids I went to school with that skated, and then they kind of ended up quitting. And then I brainwashed my brothers to keep skating with me.
And
But
we haven't talked about your brother at all,
yeah,
William, right? And William's your brother, right?
he is my brother.
Some people may know William, right?
Yeah. So I guess for anybody that doesn't, I don't know, how would you want to describe?
Describe him.
Yeah, from
Uh,
like a not, I guess I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, the only time that I really was kind of around William was during that those advocate
Okay.
eras. So
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of broke down a bit during those times. And then I saw him recently when we went and skated that street gap in Rhino. By
Oh
that,
yeah, yeah.
and then he was trying like the swirl around in the Spider-Man out in the
Oh
with the
yeah,
Spider-Man
yeah. It's
board,
the Spider-Man part.
right? And so that was the last time I saw him. I don't think he recognized me. I think we skated for like 2 days, and I like I hurt myself, so I couldn't skate. It was like
Yeah.
towards the end of filming of.
Okay.
We went out like a few sessions. I don't think he recognized me from there, but which is understandable. He's probably met like a billion people in the last
Yeah, I'm
15,
sure.
16 years since then. But like super eccentric dude, super. I don't know. When you see him like skating, he just gets into this. He gets into this mode, bro, where he's like unstoppable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just is like, it may be a weird thing that he's trying, and it's definitely something that you'd never think of doing or
Right.
imagine doing, or even kind of imagine him being capable of doing sometimes. And but he just has a weird, like not weird, but just a really sensational kind of personality where
Mhm.
he's just super eccentric and super just like laser focused kind
Yeah,
of.
he's extremely laser focused.
And was he like that like as a kid, or did he develop that over time, or is there something that
I
inspired that?
think I think it might have developed over time. I don't specifically remember because he wasn't necessarily hyper focused on skateboarding or stunts just yet. He did a lot of that stuff, but it seems like that kind of developed around that Burning Daylight era where he just yeah, if he sees something he wants to do, he's gonna try it until either the batteries are dead or the sun goes down or the lights burn out or whatever.
Or he just
He's like
in,
he's very self-driven. And you know, I've heard people say that about me, and I'm like, he's got me beat for sure. Like I will battle something, but sometimes, and for me personally, I've like if I feel like it's a time to walk away, I'm gonna do it.
do you want the water?
Oh sure.
Can you grab us waters?
But yeah, he is a he will battle it out to the end. And I think that's part of the reason he's gotten where he has with his, you know, his career is in the stunt industry and has is still skating, and he has a part that I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but somebody cancel my shoe or sue me. Uh, Part that's coming out on Thrasher really soon that
Oh
he
yeah,
just did.
I think they're hyping it on Instagram, so
Okay,
I don't think
cool.
you're like
All right,
spilling
so okay,
any
I'm
major
like
beans.
5 years behind the times. They're like, dude, that
That
came out
video's
6 months
been out,
ago.
sir.
Well, anyway, but yeah, so he's got a independent part that he's about to put out.
Unleash.
Yeah, which is cool because he's been working really hard on it for several years, and um, yeah, just we're very close. We obviously have a lot of similarities, but and then some differences. But yeah, I would have to say he's just a very driven, focused individual, and yeah, doesn't take no for an answer or
And I mean,
something.
I feel like that's really fortunate. There are a handful of kind of like people around here that had brothers that skated. You know, the twins obviously are infamous,
Yeah, yeah.
and they are the first ones that come to mind. And then you and William are kind of right there, of like like brother tandems that just
Oh yeah.
rip.
I never
And
thought of it like that. But well, anyway,
yeah, because I mean, a lot of us like we didn't have that. You're like you have brothers or whatever sisters, and they're doing something completely different, and will
yeah,
never relate to you on that level.
yeah,
But it's kind of like it's cool to see like brothers like skating together.
yeah. No, it is, and we've had a lot of fun and good experiences together. He also is um very encouraging, and he's pointed the camera at me for years, and probably um has more faith in me than I do in myself.
I noticed that a lot, dude.
Yeah,
Actually, that was one thing I did notice because like you have kind of like a self-deprecating
I do a
kind
bit.
of
Yeah, I'll be the
manner
first to admit it.
sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
But William will always be the one to like kind of like try to snap you out of
Yep.
that.
Yep.
He's
Yeah, he refuses to.
he yeah, he doesn't like that. But Evan says, were you advocating for the other dudes to tolerate the circus tricks of your brother when it wasn't normative to be that creative?
That's an excellent question. Yes, and sometimes no. And William knows that. Now, for the most part, I just always, um, I guess I got stuck in kind of and I don't feel this way now, but there was maybe a short time period where I felt like he maybe was, how can I say this? Not like overcompensating by doing the circus tricks. Instead, he was doing exactly what he wanted, and I was just having a little bit of big brother syndrome. I think that's the easiest way to put it, where you kind of you you can get irritated with the or annoyed with the person that's closest to you, even if the reason's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had a little bit of that syndrome going on, but for the most part, still supportive. And then obviously, for the past several years and up until now, I've fully back him, and I think it's cool. He's doing what he wants to do, and as long as he's having fun doing it,
Mm-hmm.
that's all that matters.
Right.
So, anyway, I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the
Yeah. Just sum it up.
yeah.
But yeah. What's up, Aaron? Yeah, we're still rolling the podcast. If you can. Just hold on a second.
Don't worry, I'll entertain the people while you're gone. Just kidding.
But
Terrible.
yeah, so that's all right. Sorry about the interruption. It's all right, good though.
Oh, you're good. And I didn't mean him terrible. I
No.
meant me. I was making bad faces.
Yeah, so yeah, that's cool to see. And William's actually really sick. Like if he wanted to focus on just being more conventional, like
He could. He's got. Yeah.
he'd be really really good too.
He's
'Cause-
very good at skating. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, no,
but-
no, you're fine. This
Yeah,
is
and
about this is your interview,
Yeah,
not
I
mine.
know, I know. But he's come a long ways too. But he's yeah, like for example, his flat ground game and ledge skating game.
Mhm.
He holds it down, and if that's something they didn't have years and years ago, he's definitely worked at it, and he's gotten that, and not for any other reason than for his own, I guess, gratification.
Yeah, just like the
I
same reason all of us
Yeah.
could do it, right?
I don't think he necessarily is concerned about validation at this point. If they don't like what they don't, or if they don't like what they see, that's, on them. So, which is a good perspective to have,
Right, and that's how he's got gained infamy
Yeah.
from that attitude anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, he's well aware his skating is controversial and it's very unconventional, and
Hmm.
he's still doing exactly what he wants to do. So, hats off to him for that.
Definitely. And
And he's a good dude.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And let's see, what else can we talk about, Shad? What else?
I don't
What
know.
else is you got going on in the future? You planning got any plans or?
I guess nothing. I mean, not to sound pathetic or anything. I don't know if it's noteworthy. Um, my biggest thing maybe is, yes, try to get out on the skateboard a little more often. I have had fun the last few times I've gone out. It's just been really sporadic,
Mhm.
but maybe that's part of the reason it's been nice, because it's
Refreshing.
refreshing. Exactly. I think my biggest thing right now is I really want to build a live-inable treehouse in my backyard.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
yeah.
I
So
bet you make a sick treehouse.
well, thank you.
Do you have a good tree in mind or?
Yeah, I got one. So I'm gonna do support posts, 4 of them.
Okay.
So it's, even if the tree, died or whatever, it'd be good. Spiral staircase up to
All
it.
right.
Full blown.
Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
What kind of activities you want to do up there?
Probably sleep and watch TV.
Yeah, you're gonna bring electricity up
Oh,
there?
dude, fully. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, a little Swiss Family Robinson
Oh my God, what a dream!
treehouse.
That you need a
Yeah,
cargo net. You
that's
need some
right.
smoke bombs,
Yep.
coconut bombs.
There you go, dude. But yeah, for me, it's something for me and the kids to hang out in and just enjoy some summer nights. So, but yeah, other than that, I guess the list isn't too crazy, or doesn't really involve too much skateboarding outside of just rolling around for fun.
Hmm.
I do miss and enjoy seeing, friends here and there, like stopping at D Park or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, I feel like that's fewer and far between though too. That's kind of another reason why I wanted to do this, because it wasn't like back in the day where you could go to any single skate park
yeah,
and you would run into somebody you knew. And we're
yeah,
because we're getting old, you know what
yeah,
I mean? There's still kids that skate regularly, and there's plenty of new friends to make, and
yeah,
there are plenty of cool people that are keeping the scene alive.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I agree.
And but it's not the same running into people that you grew up with and
Yeah,
and
it's
you
a little more watered down,
yeah.
if you will.
Well, it's just you're hanging out with younger dudes, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I've,
no, no,
I've
no.
made I've made tons of friends skating
Yeah,
in the last few years. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Actually accomplished more in the last few years than I've done ever
Oh,
before
that's
in
cool.
skateboarding. So
Yeah,
um,
that's
definitely
rad.
definitely stoked to do that. But
Yeah,
it's just different.
yeah. And I guess I want to clarify, when I say watered down, I don't necessarily mean in a derogatory way, but when I grew up, if you happen to run into somebody that skated, you guys are best friends for life.
For
Like,
sure.
there's 5 of us, now
Hmm.
there's 6, and
Right.
it's just a lot more, I guess.
Just a lot more people
Yeah,
in it.
yeah, now it's just different, and I mean that's okay, but it's just much more, I guess, blown out's not the right word either, but there's just more people.
Overexposed.
Yeah,
Overexposed and just bigger. It just seems
yeah,
gotten much bigger.
yeah, and that's
Uh,
okay.
yeah, it's great. It's what I feel like. I feel like all the things that we kind of old heads kind of complain about the scene evolving into is everything that we prayed for
Yeah,
when we were younger. You know what I mean? Oh, I wish we had skate parks
right.
everywhere. I wish we could get videos every single day that were
Yeah,
new. I wish there was more people skating. I wish that people would be more tolerant of us like skating in the streets. And now all of that stuff is basically
yeah,
the reality that we live in the skate
yeah,
culture, and
yeah,
we all find a way to still bitch about it because we're
right.
skateboarders.
Yeah, totally. It's never enough.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. So family's good, everything's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah,
And then yeah, so I hope in the future you could keep working on skateboard stuff, and then if
yeah.
as long as it's working out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on? Any other stories you want to
I don't think so.
get into?
I
We
think,
only ran for 3.5 hours, so
it's not too
it's
bad.
almost Mike
Yeah, Mike
Vallely
V
9 Club
status.
status.
Well, maybe we could leave with this, it would be cool to come back on here sometime with you and maybe co-host
Oh yeah,
somebody
anytime.
else.
Of course, you're always
So,
invited.
yeah.
And I want to try and get a guest lined up for next Monday.
Okay.
We're usually aiming for the afternoons because I'm not
Yeah.
so much of a morning kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, thanks for meeting me early.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I'll do whatever I can to make sure that we're getting cool people on here and stuff.
Rad.
Um, they would want to talk about deep park stories. Do you have any deep park stories?
Oh man. I don't know of any. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff. I kind of stopped going there for a while because it got so ridiculous. Just like with fights and whatnot, it
Uh-huh.
kind of bummed me out. I think I was there one night and his dad got jumped. Like, I think the ambulance had to come or something. But he, this guy was also, I don't know if anybody deserves to be jumped, but this guy was being an arrogant idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically provoked the locals to take him down.
To
But
take him down.
it was, yeah, it sucked. You're watching
Yeah.
this dude get basically jumped. And
Yeah.
I don't know, things like that, I guess. Um, Other than that, I've just had just some really good sessions there.
Mm-hmm.
Hours and hours and hours flat ground.
Right.
But, um, yeah, sorry. I can't really think of like a good deep park story outside of that.
Yeah. What did you say you wanted to before I kind of interrupted you with that
Oh, I can't
little
even.
question? You said you wanted to end on something.
Oh, I was just referring to maybe doing the co-hosting
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
So, that would be rad. Just to, if there's any kind of, invited involvement that would, anybody would maybe benefit from, or
Yeah,
you
I had
guys.
mentioned that initially. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That you're always welcome, and like I said, I would love to have a co-host to take some pressure off me for having to,
yeah.
make up stories,
More
make up
fake Chris Schwartz
more
stories.
fake stories about history that I wasn't
Yeah,
involved in.
that's awesome.
But yeah, having someone a little bit more relevant, a little bit more, how do you say, recognizable, would be probably a benefit to the project as a whole.
Yeah,
A
that's
little bit more
debatable,
knowledgeable
but
and stuff like that. So
you could just let me on here and I could come up with a bunch of fabricated
yeah,
stories.
yeah,
Take the pressure off you.
yeah. Give you the sweatshirt and the hat,
Yeah.
and you can just start making up stuff like I do.
That's sick.
Yeah, but it was a pleasure having you on,
Yeah,
dude.
dude, thank
You're
you so
welcome back
much.
anytime. I'll keep you in the loop as I start getting more guests, and if you can come through, and we can, you can co-host. That would be great. The more the merrier. And actually,
Cool.
like I extend that to anybody who's been on the show before. If you guys want to pop in, Mondays we'll probably be filming around the same time in the afternoon. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it last night. Actually, like I said, I couldn't sleep last night because I was so excited about coming in and doing this
Nice.
morning. But I would, I think I would eventually like to have like a studio audience
Dude, that'd be rad.
and have maybe not invite only, but kind of
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
invite only, like homies, like anybody who's been on before.
Yeah.
If they would just want to come in and sit in, we could have like a little couch and they
That
could
would
be
be
in the background of the shot, and
Yeah.
then you know what I mean. We could have like a little Q&A afterwards if I'm running
Yeah.
out of ideas of stuff to talk about. People can in the audience could actually like share stories too from their perspective
Yeah.
with whoever's the guest or whatever. So
No, that'd be rad.
I,
Even sorry, let's talk over again.
okay.
Even doing like the handful of dudes that have been on the show,
Mhm.
like for one, and obviously it's the more you have on, it's gonna get bigger and bigger. But
Mhm.
even if you did that, we're able to coordinate that with these, Trevor and Trizzer, and even get Dave on here or
Mhm.
whatever. And you had like four dudes, and they're all just kind of reminiscing.
Yeah, yeah,
Be amazing.
yeah. I think it'd be great. So
Yeah.
just an idea I had. You guys can leave feedback in the comments on the YouTube video or in chat or whatever, or on any of the posts on the Instagram or
Yeah.
Facebook or wherever you find this stuff. Feedback, just any way we could do something fun or more interesting if you guys aren't satisfied with just
The classic
the
interview.
the classic chatting
Yeah.
that we've come to develop here. But yeah, dude, I think maybe we could wrap it up. if you want,
Sounds
unless there's
good.
something else you want to talk about. You want any shout outs or any plugs or anything
Just
like that?
everybody that's I've ever had the pleasure of meeting and skating with and has been cool to me or not. Pretty much everybody has though. But just yeah, the the radness of the Denver skate community is always really blowing me away. So thank you guys, and thanks for taking the time to watch this and check
Yeah,
it
I
out.
mean, thank you, Dave, for sticking around the entire stream, and
Yeah, it's so rad.
everyone that's been in chat, Evan and Chris and Honeybee, and everyone that's been watching this whole episode. Thank you guys for the support, and
Yeah.
yes, for you guys, like glad that you guys are here. So really appreciate you. I'm gonna try and line up a guest for Monday. Might be late notice. Again, I'm gonna try to give as much heads up as I can so that you guys can know what's going on ahead of time. And yeah, I'll be looking for a new guest for Monday. Let me know if you have any ideas or if you got somebody that you can get in contact with and send them my way. Please just hit me up on Instagram on the Channel 3 Instagram is the best way to get in touch with me. Yeah, thank you guys so much. I think
Yeah,
we're going to
thank you
wrap it up.
guys. Yes, sir.
We'll catch you next week. Actually, tonight, what do we got going on tonight, William?
In a second, I'm gonna stream Three Kingdoms, then pinball stream after that.
Okay, so we got Monday Fun Day stream with William playing Three Kingdoms. If you want to tune in for that, we're gonna get started probably maybe half an hour, and then we've got Ninja Turtles pinball live stream around 8 o'clock. Tomorrow we have Rivals tournament and maybe Smash Brothers if people are gonna come out for that game again anymore. Wednesday we probably have another live stream, and Thursday I'll probably try to finish Baldur's Gate. And then this weekend I'll probably be streaming some random stuff. But if there's anybody in chat, we'll probably raid Dave's channel. Dave, are you streaming right now, bro? You're not. All right, we would raid you, Dave, but I know you're streaming in the evenings, and this is a special time slot this week. But if you guys are on Twitch regularly, definitely check out Dave's Bean to Cheese channel. Watch him play some Call of Duty and watch him play his games. Hang out with him. Follow us on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, so you can keep up to date with what's going on here. And yeah, thank you. That's enough of the self promotion.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. We'll catch you later on.